ちは死亡。思った通りだ。
ターですか？あちらにございます。階段のすぐそばです。
すみません。もう一度ゆっくりお願いします。
Hello there. Let me adjust this really quickly. There we go. I hope everything sounds okay. I am happy to be a little bit more sedentary today. Sorry about that. There's an air hole on the side of the cup. For those of you who don't know, I have been out for the past week or so, almost 2 weeks, I guess it's been, ill. And I hadn't been feeling very well, had bronchitis and a couple of other things, and nothing fatal, nothing chronic, nothing recurring, just a big, once, twice a year type of illness. And so anyway, that's why we didn't have a stream last week. And in fact, I didn't even post an update or a lack of update. I was so exhausted and so focused on trying to recover that I just didn't. I slept. I slept a lot. And but I feel quite a lot better. I might still sound a little I'm very exhausted. We got back from a very long, late day yesterday. And I hope my audio is okay. I have a fan. This room gets incredibly hot. Very, very hot. Especially because of all the equipment that I'm running, and that equipment I don't have a specialized air conditioner in here, so this room can't really keep up with the amount of, this room really can't keep up with the amount of, the cooling can't keep up with the amount of heat that's put out. So I have a little fan pointed towards me to help kind of keep things not terribly miserable. So I'm hoping that that's not polluting the audio terribly. If it is, I'll turn it off, but I'm hoping it's not polluting the air terribly. It's a quiet fan. I've got it off to the side here, quite a ways away. It's probably a good 5 feet away or so. And I don't have it pointed at the same. I don't have it pointed down the barrel of the microphone also, and I've got a windscreen on the microphone, all that kind of good stuff. So I'm hoping it's not causing any issue. Let me move us over to the little wizard guy so we can talk for a minute. Also, welcome in, Ash. I have an aircon unit for the room. I'm in a bunch because dumb England doesn't have air conditioning, so I bought one. Yeah, I don't know why England doesn't. I will tell you this. Air conditioning, centralized air conditioning is much more comfortable, but it is ridiculously expensive over here. Where I am in the winter months, it's probably, we don't even use the air conditioner, and the electric bill is probably $170, $160, $170. In the summer, though, my electric bill can be $600, $700 per month. So I'm a little bit more comfortable, but I'm physically more comfortable, but I'm financially not, But in this back room, like I said, I've got a lot of equipment. It's my office, but there's a lot of gaming equipment. There's computers, monitors, game consoles, things that are venting, things that are giving off heat, so it's like, I think it's just because our country is primarily cold to freezing most of the year, so they probably didn't think it was needed, but things have changed. I wish it were cold to freezing most of the time here. We live in the desert, and that's the problem, is you might have a 90-degree Fahrenheit day, and that's not a hot day, by the way. That's a warm day in this part, but it might be 40, 45 degrees at night. So during the day, pretty hot. During the night, really cold. I wish it were freezing most of the time, though. And then ironically, I say we're in the desert, but then ironically, we have some of the worst snowstorms of pretty well anywhere also. So you'll end up with like, oh, okay, it's going to be hot, no worries. And then you'll end up with, anywhere between 2 and 6 feet of snow. But this winter was terrible. This winter it was not cold at all. I think it snowed maybe twice, not terribly. It was icy one time, but it wasn't terribly. I mean, the snow wasn't terrible, and then we ended up moving into like summer weather, 90 degrees in the middle of winter. You know, so. So I'm thankful for when we get cold, but also just kind of try to do it. I've got fans running, so if anything is polluting the audio, making the audio sound bad, or uncomfortable, please let me know, and I'll just make some changes to it. But my testing didn't seem to note a huge change in the audio quality. So I'm hoping that the audio still sounds good. As a matter of fact, give me a second. I'll listen to it myself. Not too bad. Not too bad. I'm also just about to hit my limit with England, so I hope to be gone within the next few years. Yeah. I mean, I don't blame you. I'm going to tell you right now, if you had your limit with England, don't come to America. America's making the same mistakes England made, but worse. Right now. I want to be very clear. I love what America is supposed to be, and America's the proposition of America. Americans, not all of them, but the ones that are nice and good and kind, and audio seems the same. Okay, perfect. Thank you. But I think America is making. England's making mistakes, but England is making different mistakes. Whereas America is making mistakes, but America is kind of making mistakes that England made about 700 years ago. And which is fitting because we're about to turn 250 this July. And and that's kind of the and granted, England inherited that issue, whereas America is making that a fresh issue. They're not inheriting this problem. They're making it from scratch, basically. I've been talking about politics, I guess, about specifically the American politics recently, the wartime politics. America getting involved in war with Iran and proxy wars and all this kind of stuff, and it's just in my personal opinion, this is going to sound really weird. I want to opine on it for just a second. It's not intended to. I'm not someone who has a political affiliation, which is to say I'm not a Republican or a Democrat or a Libertarian or independent is as close as you could get. Just because I like to take a look at things, but I personally cannot see no coincidence in the outcry for the release. This is an American problem predominantly, not entirely, but it's an American problem predominantly. I personally cannot see that it is just coincidence to go from the outcry requesting, if not demanding, the Epstein files be unredacted and released, and our desire to jump into full-scale war with Iran. And I understand that it could be a proxy war. It could be that Iran is being backed by Russia and China, and us backing Israel or whomever else we want to back is kind of this proxy war where the United States isn't directly attacking Russia and China. There are a lot of theories. I don't know that I have enough information to really have an opinion on that, whether or not that's a good move, or whether a proxy war is necessary. I personally don't believe, with what little information that I do have on the Iran front, that we should probably have chosen to go to war with them. But I don't have enough information to know that definitively. I have enough information to have an opinion on that part of it. I don't have enough information or know enough about proxy war and the way that should be done to have an opinion on that. So that's I'm not opining on that part. I am opining on this thing with Iran, which I don't think, with the little information that I do have, that we probably should have done that. But regardless of whether or not I'm learned enough on those topics, I think it's a very difficult thing to see no correlation between the outcry for the release of unredacted Epstein files and the beginning of an all-out war. I think those two things, and especially considering that we hadn't really heard much on the war or going to war with Iran, I personally think that it's very difficult to see no correlation. It may not be the reason, but I feel like that's probably, there's probably that's probably a little bit more than coincidence. Our immigration problem is getting absolutely insane, and if I hear one more person pretend it's not as big of a deal as it is, I'm going to lose it. Immigration's tricky though, because and it's immigration for everywhere. I mean, obviously England has that problem. It is interesting timing, isn't it? Oh, it's absolutely interesting timing. And again, I'm not giving you a deep dive into the political opinion saying, oh, it's absolutely this. I'm not saying that, and I don't want anyone to take my word for anything that I say. Not because I intend to lie to you, but because, again, I'm not an expert. Even if I were an expert, that doesn't mean that I can't be wrong. So anything that I'm saying or opining on, go look at other things, other sources, read papers, listen to other people's accounts, listen to their perspective, develop your own perspective, right? I never ask that you believe me. I'm never going to sit there and go, well, they're an expert, therefore that has to be the end of it. If I happen to have an expert in that field that I can cite, that's obviously going to be a point in the favor of possible credibility. But what I'm saying isn't, trust me, I'm saying I just don't see it to be coincidence. Immigration is tricky, and I'm not going to say. I think immigration, especially for England and especially for the United States, and potentially also now Canada, is getting to be incredibly tricky. Europe in general is having, I think, a big issue with it too. But I think that the problem, in my understanding of a lot of this, is people are wanting to get away from things that are terrible, but people are wanting, like, let's shoe on the other foot, right? I can't have a hard stance against immigration if I'm wanting to myself become an immigrant, right? Now, obviously, I think illegal immigration is a bad thing. I think you should try to do things the legal way to help make sure that you're not putting undue burden on other people. But immigration in general, or trying to immigrate via work visa, or, it's that kind of a thing. Because if I tell you I don't like immigration, but then I want myself to immigrate outside of the United States to Europe, Germany, Scandinavia, France, England, Scotland, then I would be a hypocrite, right? Because I want to get rid of, I want to leave the United States. Therefore, I want to become an immigrant technically. And it's, so I'm becoming a part of a problem that I've told everybody that I've tested. So I have to be careful about that. I agree. I don't want people just randomly crossing over willy-nilly, but at the same time, if I want the opportunity to be able to immigrate to another place myself, so long as there are legal processes that aren't absolutely ridiculous and undue, I think the same courtesy should be extended or afforded to anybody. I think the same thing should be extended or afforded to, to anyone else. Our country has become a joke, full of spineless people who are terrified to do or say anything. It's embarrassing. And I see the joke, not job. Yeah, I mean, again, if it's illegal immigration, I agree with that. If it's regular immigration, then if people are just coming in en masse, but the country is willing to, their process is just expeditious, then, I have no problem with people coming to the country and living here, but if you're going to do it, you're going to do it the proper way, and you're not bringing your Stone Age culture over here. Now that I'm curious of. Now, I agree with you on the proper way, right? I agree with that. I do also believe that a lot of, and I believe the United States of America is a particularly poor way to do it. Our immigration process is way, 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 way too long. It doesn't solve for many problems, but it takes way longer than it needs to. If we said you needed to take 10 years to do it, but in that 10-year period, we're vetting you, we're taking, you have to have gainful employment and show you're a contributing member of society, and there has to be a level of acclimation, right? So, for example, I don't mind if you speak whatever language you do, but it's also going to be appropriate to work in communities either that speak the same language as you, or to help kind of work on learning another language also, right? So, for example, in where I live, the state that I live, there are four major languages. I've talked about this before. It's English, Spanish. Actually, there are becoming 5 major languages, but right now it's 4, right? So it's English, Spanish, German, and French. And then now there's a lot of Nepali also. And legally a lot of Nepali, but it's like we've got 5 big languages that are spoken, 4 big languages that are spoken, one that's kind of on the uprise. If you're saying, I speak Spanish, therefore I either want to work in the part of the state that speaks predominantly Spanish, cool, that's fine. Or I'm okay learning English so that I can, kind of work in these other areas. Sure, that's cool too. I think that's good. I am curious when you say bringing Stone Age culture, I am curious as to what you mean by that. Because almost every culture is born or bred out of a vine of the Stone Age. I mean, you have to consider even England. Even England is that, right? I mean, honestly, that would be America, which is one of the younger countries, is still bred of Stone Age tradition. So, if you move to a foreign country, you should do it the proper way. Learn the language, and you got to live how we live. That's disgusting. Going over here every day. There's disgusting. Oh, okay, that's it. Yeah, I think. I mean, yeah. If you're gonna go into somebody's house and try to make it your own, you got to play by their rules. I don't disagree. Oh, okay. Didn't Stone Age literally? I'm sitting there going, okay, wait a minute. We're all kind of born of the Stone Age here, but okay, I see what you're saying. So colloquially or figuratively speaking, I think again, I think there has to be a level of acclimation, right? If I decide that I want to immigrate to Mexico, I should probably not expect everybody to speak English. I should probably speak Spanish or learn to speak Spanish if I don't know how to. If their government demands taxes in a particular way, those are things that I should know when I'm going into them, and I have to acclimate a little bit. I may not like it or agree with it, but if I'm choosing to immigrate there, then the majority rules in that case, and so I kind of have to make changes, So I don't disagree with that. I'm okay with, as far as cultures go, I'm okay with cultures so long as they don't impede on mine. One of the supposedly in writing, but not necessarily as much in practice, one of the big American traditions is the tradition of freedom and the pursuit of being free. And if if someone, for example, brought a religion over here that was that required that I used force to convert you to it, then that would be an impingement on that freedom, or that proposition of freedom. And so obviously, if you're coming over here and you're saying, well, you're going to have to convert to my religion or this or that or the other, and you're building whatever type of temple or whatever, then yeah, I can't abide that. But if you want to come over here and you celebrate a religion where you pray 385 times an hour, so long as you're able to contribute to society in other meaningful ways, I think that's fine. But you can't force me to do that. Yeah, I think immigration is, I don't think immigration is as tricky as people make it. I think people make things a lot trickier. Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I don't care what color you are, whether you're into guys, women, your religion, what your politics are, I don't care, but be respectful, especially when now that I don't disagree with. But again, we're not, think about this, and this is where the hypocrisy comes in some of what we do, is we're telling, this is something that happened in recent history. We are America telling everybody we don't want you, go back. In some cases, we're being hyperbolic and calling people murderers and drug dealers and such, which we don't, it's not to say that we don't have evidence that there are those types of people that are being brought in, but it's also not every person. And in a lot of cases, it's not even the majority of them. It's just there are people that get through that are bad, obviously. And then we say, we want Greenland. And when people ask and they're saying, because obviously Greenland is Danish territory, and I think I'm going to probably get this wrong, but it's close enough, where it was like, why are we letting the Danes claim Greenland? Because it's only just because a boat landed there. And it's like, that's the exact same reason that the United States of America is the United States of America. In fact, apart from natives, one of the first people recorded as having found it, their boat landing here, was a Dane by the name of Leif Erikson. So that's the problem I have, is you can't sit there and go, well, this is our land and we're going to put up fences and borders and nobody can come in. But we're going to take that one over there, that land that's already got a people on it and is already governed and already has an agreement on how it should be governed. Oh, what? You don't want us taking that over and having our bases and people there? Why? Because a boat landed there? That kind of hypocrisy is nonsense. I agree with you that it's definitely not every person. Of course it isn't, but there are people that think there isn't that there isn't any proof. Yeah, and it just mathematics, right? Forget everything else, right? Obviously, if people are going, nothing is going to be 100%. If you have people immigrating, it's not going to be 100% good in both quality of the people or intention of the people. No, I completely agree with that. I would even argue, now again, I can't speak for England on this. I can certainly speak for the US. I can argue pretty comfortably it's not even the majority are bad. But there are bad people coming in, and we do have to be a lot more careful about making sure that if there are bad people, that our processes are really a couple of things, right? Number one, our processes, I think, should be firstly and foremostly with the purpose of creating an American citizen, right? If you come from Mexico, our intent, and you want to live here in the United States, My ask is that you're asking to come here. My ask in return is that you work like any other American citizen is expected to. You live like any other American citizen is expected to. Does that mean that you can't enjoy and celebrate Mexican culture? No, of course not. I mean, honestly, Texas was a Mexican territory until the 1800s, right? 1845, I believe. December of 1845, I believe. But at the same time, now it is what it is. The battles have been fought and the things have happened. It's a part of America. Because it's a part of America, we should probably consider, that as a part of it. But at the same time, I also think that the process isn't as much as I also agree that we want to make sure that we vet out and weed out undesirables, people that are legitimately bad. I also believe that for the people that are good, that are coming in, which I do believe to be the majority of them, I do believe our process is very aggressive and hostile, and it takes way too bloody long. So they're kind of in this very uncomfortable limbo for way too long. And I think we could probably work on making a process that tests that, that holds true that proposition, while still allowing them to become a citizen in a decent amount of time. My problem is you're coming to my land. You're not going to try and change it. We live in England. If you don't like the way the English people live, then go back to your country stereotype isn't lost on me. I know it's overused, but it's the truth here anyways. I have zero issue with the person wanting to live here without any issues, but what's happening lately is not that, and I don't care what anyone hold on, wait a minute. I do not care what anyone is saying outside of here. They're not seeing it. Oh, sure. Nobody sees it from the outside looking in the same way that the people on the inside do. I mean, I don't know what English immigration looks like firsthand. I know what it looks like from the outside looking in, but I have no idea what it looks like inside. I just know what generalized immigration looks like for the modern day, and then of course I do know what U.S. immigration looks like. I mean, I live in the most, either the most or the second most, depending, immigrated state in the United States of America. Texas is actually, I believe, the most immigrated too, but California may technically be. Texas is where the majority of border crossings are supposed to have happened. And it's like, and again, I like I said, I agree. I don't mind. Texas has always had, so for example, with Mexico, Texas has always had a kind of deep relationship with Mexico, good, bad, or indifferent. Even though Texas isn't a Mexican territory anymore, Texas has always had a huge relationship with Mexico. And that's why the Spanish language is still so huge here. There's an actual type of food called Tex-Mex, which is Texas-Mexican fusion. There's a huge, I am not at all Mexican, but there's a huge Mexican influence in Texas, because despite the fact that the property changed, the influences didn't, right? So even though the United States has possession of Texas, the Mexican influence never left. And so it's not actually as big of a deal there with people asking you to change, because it's Mexico. It's people from Mexico. Texas, again, used to be a part of that. But when you start to get people that are asking, when you start getting people that are telling you have to change your religion, or you can't be, this or that, or then it's getting a little, that's when it gets a little bit more dangerous, I think. And I don't mean someone's opinion. I'm talking about outsiders saying we're overreacting. No, we aren't. I don't have any opinion on that. I'm not there. So if you say that that's the case, then your opinion's likely going to be more impacted than mine. So I don't really have an opinion on that. I would argue that you're probably right. But if somebody else inside argues it's not that big of a deal, then I think that argument would be better held between you and someone who disagrees living inside of the same circumstances. I'm not, I'm not going to disagree with you. It's impossible to talk about. You speak about how it's getting crazy and you're just told you want all brown people dead, and it's disgusting. Idiotic people who can't communicate. Sure, that's fair. And I do agree with that there is, I mean, we do have to be careful about how we do things from a resource perspective. It's not a matter of race. It is sometimes a matter of resource, right? And there is the unfortunate, you sit there and say, well, is it because people were born, you disenfranchise people born in a different circumstance? You do that all the time. It's called nepotism. When you were born to a child to a wealthy politician or a movie star or someone of that nature, and you're not giving your loads of wealth out to people that you know the names of. You're going usually through organizations where your tax write-off is huge and recouping a ton of costs and being profitable. You make the excuse to yourself that it's all because it's for the greater good. The more money you make, the more money you can give, but you never end up giving the money except for to your children, who then are passed on in this nepotistic cycle. So it's like the people that are in these high offices, high chairs, a lot of them, not all of them, are the same way. They disenfranchise people opportunity based on birth, and then they criticize you for doing it. Oh, well, you don't want immigrants because this, that, and the other, but then, And there's a man on the street piece, which I think is funny, where you have a bunch of protesters and the guy goes out and says, hey, all right, immigrants are looking for homes. So do you need, you believe immigrants should be allowed to stay here? Yes, I do. Wonderful. Well, tell you what, I actually work for Sponsor an Immigrant, the Sponsor an Immigrant program. If you've got an extra guest bedroom and you'll let an immigrant stay here, they can actually live more comfortably and we can help get them start going through the immigration process. And it's amazing how many people will sit there and go, no, I don't have enough room. You're picketing that somebody should have the burden, but you won't take it. I would never move to Japan, refuse to learn Japanese, and then try to change their culture while complaining things that offend me. Are you serious? It's absolutely ridiculous. Tired. Oh, sure. Well, you wouldn't make it in Japan if you did that. You'd get kicked out quick, because you won't get jobs if you don't speak Japanese. And Japan is a particularly intolerant place of people that aren't willing to acclimate. But I understand your meaning. I don't think anyone is going to change, by the way. We can't communicate as people. It's over. No, I mean, that's true. Communication has gotten, over the past just 10 years, communication has fallen almost off of an absolute cliff. Everybody, and again, I've said this before, I'll say it again, and this is not my words. This came from someone that I heard who heard it from someone. I don't know the original credit, but it's not me. I wish it were. I agree with it, though, based upon my own just going back and evaluating. But it was that there is a vacuum of worship that exists within us all. And some people fill it with religion, and some people fill it with money, and some people fill it with self. A lot of people fill it with self. The fact of the matter is that it's not an overt worship. It's not a prayer type of thing. It's a possession or possessiveness of offense when that thing is attacked, basically. That's what we call it. So if a religion is attacked, then you defend the religion, and that's the vacuum of worship. That's what you filled it with, because we can prove that by, say, attacking it. But a lot of people opt to fill this vacuum of worship with self, and they basically escalate themselves to the status of God. And it's kind of like, again, Revolt of the Angels, where being a god, anybody telling you that you might be wrong is an affront to your godhood. And so anytime somebody says you're wrong, rather than going back and going, am I? Let me think about that. Or saying, you could be right, but here's some citation that I'm kind of pulling from. What does that make you think? And then they say, I still think you're wrong because here's additional citation. You go, okay, I didn't know about that. Let me go back and reevaluate. Because they've escalated themselves to God, they can't let you see the cracks in the armor. And so they take offense to it. Do you think it's the internet? I do, specifically social media. I mean, some of it is, yeah. Obviously, it's called the Lucifer effect. I think some of that is there. But no, I don't think that's the majority of it. I think the majority of it is people, and it's been around a long time. Now, I think the internet made it worse, no doubt, undoubtedly. And social media, especially. But I think that people being unwilling to be wrong has been a phenomenon that we've observed for a very long time. I think there are religions that are literally born of that exact conundrum thousands of years ago. It was basically the appeal to authority fallacy, where it was basically like, if I'm wrong, then so is the thing that created everybody, so therefore that can't be wrong, and it's kind of pointing to Big Brother. Right now I feel trapped, and it's weird. I need to get out of here. But trapped where? Like trapped in England, or trapped in life, or trapped in, you know... I've been trying to make a deal with the devil. He won't contact me, though. Coward. I mean, you know, probably got a bad reception or something. I don't know. I think that's what it is. I think about it this way. If I wrap the entirety of my identity in the amount of times that I'm right, and how much, and I'm going to put this in quotes, better than you I am, then anytime I'm wrong, I'm less of a person than I believe that I was before. And so I have two things I can do. Number one, the easy thing, is I can choose to believe that everybody who says that I am less than what I think I am is wrong, and therefore I am a good person. Or two, which is a lot harder, I can face the music and say, you know what, maybe I'm not a good person, and maybe what this person brought up was a good point. And there will be times where I'll look at that and evaluate and go, nope, they brought up a good point. I should work on that. And then there are other times where I'll look at that and go, no, I wouldn't take advice from this person, so there's no way I can take criticism from them, because I don't want to be anywhere near what kind of a person they are. Right? I have a person that I work with, and I won't say who they are, but I would not take advice from them. I mean, I do not trust them at all. They have shown me in multiple occasions that they are not someone, in my opinion, to trust. They speak, in my opinion, very inelegantly, very poorly. They're very crass. They're very rude. And it's not just a matter of being rude to people that are agitators, but also just in general, being rude to people like waitstaff. And I realized that if I wouldn't take advice from that person, because I don't want to become anything like that person. I don't want to be rude to waitstaff for no good reason. I don't want to be rude to this. I don't want to be rude to I don't want to do that. But, so I wouldn't take advice from them. Therefore, I'm not going to take criticism. I don't care about the criticism that comes from them. Right? But there are other people also that I would love to be like. And they say, oh, here's this, thing that I might recommend you. You're maybe a little too harsh. And I'm like, yeah, this is a good person. This is a person I think does good things, tries to do good things. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'll work on that. When everybody started getting to the point of where they thought, if I have anyone suggest that I need to change anything about me, they're offending me, that's a problem. You're spot on. People will not admit when they're wrong. They would rather continue to argue for the next hour knowing they're wrong. In England and somewhat in life. I'm sure for you, I hope that the former is quick and the latter is not. But I think if the former is remedied, the latter won't feel like a trap. He's talking about me, such slander. I'm definitely trustworthy. Hello, Maki Sprites. I'm not slandering you at all. I'm trustworthy too. What do you mean I have N64 cartridges hanging out in my pockets after visiting Retro's house? Those are always there. That's what they are. Those are my lucky, all of the cartridges I carry. No, it's not just, and it's not just about, you're right. I mean, it's absolutely not just about people being wrong, but it's also about people's, I think people have the wrong goal in mind. Because I believe the goal is to win. This is a goal. Matter of fact, I believe, I have to remember who said this. I can't remember if it was, I think it was Andrew Wilson. But I cannot remember. It could have been Charlie Kirk. I don't remember. Some debater, I believe. Destiny, maybe. I don't know. But it was somebody who said, when you're debating somebody, the goal is to sway the audience to your side. And I completely disagree with that. As a matter of fact, I would even argue that debate shouldn't really, good debates, real debates, debates that are intended to have a good result, shouldn't have an audience save for the two people participating in the debate. I think that the goal has shifted in debate from getting closer to the truth to swaying the audience to believe that what you say is true. And when you shift those goals, what you do is you shift the entire tactic. So if I say I'm going to focus on, well, I was going to say that's a shame. Well, it'll always be there. But I think you shift the whole. I make the same 12 jokes I sleep. I repeat. No, you've got a pretty good joke repertoire, honestly. No, what I was saying is, I think when you start to have the goal in mind to persuade the audience that you're right, that the skill set and the tactics shift. When you're having a debate, an actual genuine debate, and the goal isn't to be right, but to get closer to what is right, and you're working with someone else too, who disagrees with you, by the way, but you're working with them also to determine what probably is true, right? I think that you have the skill set that you have is firstly clear communication. I want to make sure that I get exactly what I intend to get across. Arguably, even more important than that is to be attentive and to listen with their position in mind. So I'm not listening to them with the intention to tell them what I believe. I'm listening to them with the intention to see if what I believe does contradict them, or if we agree, or if there is something that I have said that they have combated that I think is, ahead of this kind of curve, so to speak. And the goal is to, again, the goal the whole time is to get closer to what is true. When the goal is to speak to an audience, it's now persuasive talk. It's now, I might bend a truth that sounds good. I might Mott and Bailey a little bit. For anybody who doesn't know what Mott and Bailey, by the way, is, Mott and Bailey is when you make a very specific, hard to prove claim and then retreat back to a very easy general claim, right? So Mott and Bailey is, I'm going to go up and I'm going to tell you, all Christian people are terrible, awful extremists. And then you accuse me of that, and I say, no, of course, there were crusades. There were crusades. There were inquisitions. They killed people. And you go back at all Christian, you made the claim that all Christian people, and I'm going back, well, it's hard. My fundamental claim is that it's hard to deny that religious extremism is harmful. Well, the Mott was I made a very pointed claim towards a very specific group of people. The Bailey was that I made a very general group that most people would agree with, and just kind of retreated back to that. So I was like, yeah. How you doing? Depressed and extremely bored and melancholic. So, all right. I agree it's important to listen. Can you repeat all this? I wasn't... Nice. I hurt my main hand's wrist and I can't do much of anything. I've never realized how many things take 2 hands. Take it for granted. You as in people. What happened to hurt your wrist? I'm sorry to hear that. But I'm just curious, what was it that caused you to hurt your wrist? Carpal tunnel syndrome, maybe? Or too much typing? Yeah. But I think your goal shifts from learning the truth to becoming persuasive. And I think that those are very different skill sets. I think becoming persuasive isn't something that a genuine debate really needs. I think that listening and speaking clearly and being willing to change your mind are the big elements of debate. And I think that we've turned it into being persuasive, cunning, and using fallacy tactfully. And it's arguably, it's the difference between physical fitness and bodybuilding. Debate is physical fitness. The objective is longevity, health. It doesn't matter necessarily how it looks, but it has a tendency to look pretty good from the outside looking in. And generally, your health and the amount of time you live is going to be lengthened. Is going to be heightened and lengthened. In bodybuilding, it's all for the aesthetics, and you end up doing a ton of things that are going to kill you at a young age because you've abused these enhancements. Yes, from the outside you're going to win some competitions, but on the inside you're probably going to die at 40. I remember when I hurt my hand for 2 weeks straight, all I could play was Stellar Blade. Easy work though. I'm very careful about my hands because I like to do the card shuffling thing, and I write a lot and such, so try to be very, very careful. But anyway, so just my take on a few things. Maybe I'm wrong. Possibly. Could be. Oh, I'm sorry about that. No idea. Yeah, no worries. I knew what you meant. Maybe something in my sleep happened, but I seem to have a small tear in the cartilage. Maybe you fight a sleep paralysis demon. Yeah, maybe, but there's not much paralysis. Maybe you fought one, but I was saying, not much paralysis if you tore your cartilage. I think the world's changing. I don't think it's changing for the better. As a matter of fact, I don't know how deep it is yet, so I'm not going to plant a flag here, but I'm inclined to believe it. That's why I want to dig a little deeper. As a general rule, there's a Star Wars quote, which I quite like. And it's one of like 10 things. Sorry, I had to move the microphone. It's one of like 10 things that I think came really well. I may have won the battle, but it seems I've lost the war. I've won the battle, but at what cost? One of like maybe 5 or 10 things that I enjoy from the Star Wars sequel trilogy. Excuse me. How's your Bruce Night? This is a hammer against my femur. Oh, what was I saying now? You've caught me off guard. Oh yeah. One of the 5 or 10 things that I enjoy from the sequel trilogy is a quote from Yoda, comes in episode 8, which is easily my least favorite. But he says, "We are what they grow beyond." And he's talking to Luke. And I think that's such a brilliant thing. And that's what our children should be. That's what our students should be. I think a lot of us hang on and we want to be the best forever. And we have to realize that we succeed when they become better than we. That's a measure of success. A measure of success is not remaining the best. It can be in some cases, but not in most cases, especially if you're a teacher of some form. It is absolutely I think a huge measure of success when the person that you are teaching becomes better, or at least an equal, but I would say even better. When your child grows into a better adult than you were, when your student grows into a better teacher than you were, that's, I think, the highest metric of success in that regard. And I think that we don't think that anymore. I think that we believe that it has to be us until we die. We need to be the top person. And the problem with that is that it's inevitable that eventually we will fail. We will be outdone by somebody who outclasses us in general. And then we're going to be disappointed anyway. Might as well be the person that you've taught up to become the best. But anyway, to tie that in, apparently until these most recent generations, I think one, maybe two, but these most recent generations, they have been less academically successful or apt. Remember when they're at dinner scene, Luke's being disgusting, Vader says, "Use the fork." Okay. Use the fork. Why would Vader be? Couldn't be. Okay, fine. Fiddy would have liked that. Fiddy will be up. Fiddy will probably be awake in like 45 more minutes. I bet. So to make sure my kids are better, I should be the worst parent possible. Well, it's interesting you say that. I know you're being facetious in that, but it's interesting you say that because ironically, to be the worst parent possible, it's not possible to be the worst. There's always, in the same way that you want your kids to be better than you, it's very, very difficult to be better. It's the best across the board. It's also very difficult to be the worst across the board. And you have a chance, of course, of being the worst parent possible and your children becoming better than you, but you also have a good chance of you being what you believe to be the worst parent possible and your children growing up with every cruelty that you enacted upon them, plus creating some deviations of their own. So I think it's a safer bet to probably just try to be as good as you can and then teach the things that you didn't get taught. You supplement by doing the things that your parents didn't do. And then they will supplement by finding gaps that you didn't recognize and supplementing it with their children. That's the idea. One of the things that I really don't like, rest in peace, Fiddy. He's not dead. He's just asleep, I think. I think he normally gets up about between 3 and 3:30 my time. And it's only 20 past 2 here right now, so. But I think, for me, I think a lot of, so I have a teenage daughter, and I'm very, very proud of her. I'm immensely proud of her. But one of the things that I don't like from the different people who raised me is I never agreed with this, do it because I said so. You know, why am I supposed to do this? Because I said so. I don't think that's a good way to do things. I don't think it's a good way to be a parent. I don't think it's a good way to be a teacher. I don't think it's a good way to be anything. Because what it does is it teaches the kid that asking why can get them in trouble or can be a bad thing. It also teaches them that because I said so isn't okay. Teaching them that because I said so is enough. So it's teaching them to conform to an authority figure, which hasn't asserted what their authority actually is, and it teaches them that saying why could be a bad thing. And those are both really bad lessons. So with my daughter, even when she was younger and may not understand, I never told her because I said so. I would always take time to try to break it down and explain it. And then if she couldn't explain it, she just couldn't grasp it, which very, very, very rarely happened, then I'd say, please just trust me for right now, and then I'll explain it later. And then I made a point to go back later and try to break it down and explain it. We got to the meat and potatoes. I don't need her to agree with me. I don't need her to agree with me on it, but I do need her to understand that I will always tell her why I'm doing it. Why would he fight 2 kangaroos? Why? He will be missed. Did he get at least one of them? Viddy killed one with his teeth alone. But yeah, so one of those things that I found a gap in is encouraging my daughter to ask why and encouraging me to communicate with her more clearly. And then she'll find a gap in whatever I've done when she becomes a parent, and she'll plug that gap, and I'll be immensely proud of her for doing that too. So. But anyway. Well, thank you. I think that the way we need to communicate, I'm not the authority figure. I just think the way we need to start communicating and the way that we have begun to communicate need to be vastly different. I think that we need to, if I were to write a prescription, and I'm nowhere near the doctor for this, but I just to put me in a weird position for a second. If I, in between, it's all right. To speak freely. I'm all right with it. Jokes and all. I love it. I think my prescriptions are these. Don't get too caught up on being right, because you'll always have something that you're the most wrong at. Right? So don't get too caught up in being right. Always get caught up in being better. Understand that to say I don't know or I might be wrong isn't a weakness, it's a strength. But to say I know when I don't is a lie. Speak with people without the intention to win, but with the intention to understand. And ask and communicate in the way that encourages their desire to understand, not to win. Right? So don't come at communication isn't intended most of the time to be combative. And even in the times when it is combative, I'll argue that your composure and your willingness to listen, to address the circumstance not from emotion but from thought, from logic, from rationale, is going to make any audience that might be watching you, I think that they're going to look at that, and I think that what you do, that composure, it's going to come across as composure. And it's probably not far off from that, honestly, nowadays. But go in listening, go in willing to hear what people are wanting to say. You don't have to agree with it, but you also don't need to defend yourself. We'll go back to Niccolo Machiavelli, right? Machiavellian mentality. The Machiavellian mentality, which I have a great adoration for Machiavelli. And one of the things that I thought was brilliant on him is and I'm going to paraphrase again, but if something isn't really an attack, then it doesn't warrant a defense. If you say something to me and I care about it and I react as if I care about it, then what happened is I've shown that what you did was deep cutting, hard hitting, valuable. I've shown you can get to me. But if I let you say whatever you want to say and then I act as if there's no reason to defend myself because I don't care, you come up, Retro, you're stupid. You're an idiot. Everything you say is dumb. Probably. I mean, I'm willing to say I might be. I could be the dumbest person on earth and just not know it. I don't necessarily think that's the case. I know for a fact I'm not the smartest person on earth. So you making that attack doesn't bother me. Yeah, probably. Possibly. Just let it go. I do think the Lucifer effect has a lot to do with it. I do think the anonymity, to go back to your original statement too, I do think that I don't think it has, you said social media and the internet, I don't even know if that has the majority to do with it. Honestly, I think the anonymity has to do with it. And I think that's okay. I think anonymity is a good thing. One second. I think the anonymity is a good thing, right? But I also believe that that's what's causing people to become so brazen. Is I can say anything I want to on any platform I want to with the power of the internet over the course of a social media conversation, and I don't have to tell you who I am, where I'm from, what my beliefs are, which again is a good thing. We should be able to stay anonymous, but that anonymity is a double-edged sword where I also don't have any reason to take accountability. You don't know who I am, so there's no consequence unless I say something that breaks a law, like making a threat. No one's going to come for me. No one's going to come after me and figure out who I am and do anything to me, most likely. It's possible that people can, but it's unlikely people will. So. But anyway, I think it might be the time to move over to the game then. We've gone over an hour and hour and 20 minutes-ish of talking, maybe an hour of talking, I guess, about this kind of stuff, which I think is good. I think it's good to go through that. But I think we'll move to the game. We'll move to Deathgate. I have to remember how to do this. I've been away for a week or so, so give me 1 second to remember. I believe what I need to do on the back end here, move this over here. And then I believe what I'm going to do is fade the music out. And then I believe I have to change my audio source to, I think it's this. There we go, I think. And then I believe I can just open the game. And we'll see what happens. And then I have to remember which one to move over. I think it's this one. Nope, it isn't. That looks to be Elgato. So give me 1 second here. That one? There it is. There we go. Sorry about that. It's been a minute, so I couldn't figure out what was going on here. Okay, let me, I'm going to turn this up. I may be able to hear this a different way. I'm back, don't worry. That's alright. We're back to the game, too. And we're to a part I don't remember what all I'm doing, but I think we're gonna... Took me a second to figure out what the right screen was, but I think we're gonna be able to get this. There's another clearing, so shaded by overhanging branches that is much darker than the surrounding area. I have this white disc. A white disc has been embedded in the ground. The surface is smooth and metallic, and it glows with magic. Okay, so let's see. Can I... Hey, calm down. I'm okay. Relax. I'm back. Don't be so worried. Welcome back. Buy their time to die. I already got that. Oh, there we go. The conversation dies suddenly. You look around to determine the cause and notice that everyone is staring at the ground, at the disc in the ground. It has started to glow and is getting brighter every moment. Let me bring the microphone up. A fountain of white fire bursts from the disc. It rises in the air, whipping and spitting about. With a flash, the font disappears. Disappears. Replaced by a somewhat confused-looking man dressed in a long white robe. As he smooths and brushes his garb, you dive behind a bush out of sight. There's no mistaking it. This man is a Sartan, and you don't want to scare him away too soon.
Welcome, my little friend. It's time for the Zip-Nab Show. I hope you're all comfortable. I seem to be without my beautiful assistant. Always liked her outfits, although I couldn't figure out how she kept from catching cold. We'll have to make do without her. I hope you've all been thinking over what we talked about last time. I know you're just dying to philosophize about racial harmony.
Where is everyone today? A bunch of Easter worshippers? Probably so. I forget it's Easter Sunday, but that's fun. Remember that when you want to give one of your mods 10 grand. Heck yeah. If I had 10 grand to give. If I had 10 grand to give, all I need to be happy is a pen, a paper, a deck of playing cards, and a drink. I don't care. And water's fine. This is my favorite character, by the way. This is Zifnab. Voice acting in old games is so fun. This character, this is my thing. I'm not old. I'm older, but I'm not old, you know. This character, if I can grow into this character when I'm, you know, this age, I would be a happy man. I love this guy right here. Almost as one, the group of children start chanting. Zifnab reels back from the outburst.
Hold on there!
He says to little effect.
Whoa! Yes, I know that the races living in conflict is very tragic. That's why we're going to talk about it.
The children finally quiet down.
No, we want to see some magic.
The elf girl squeaks.
Magic! You want to see magic? Let's see. Any of you have a $50 bill? No? How about 100? Put that coin away, son. This trick only works with the high denomination.
Zifnab kneels down and stares soberly into the child's face. Zifnab removes his battered hat and fingers a hole in the tip. Inspired, he flips it upside down and says,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
He reaches inside and after rummaging around for a while, comes out empty-handed. He looks mystified.
In my hat, maybe it was bats in my belfry.
You stare open-mouthed at the outlandish figure. Without question, this Zifnab is a Sartan. But he's nothing like you envision. He seems harmless enough, perhaps even a little mad. But you know how powerful the Sartan were. Best just to observe. The purpose of this whole act could be to lull any potential enemies into underestimating him. So, he seems pretty nice. He does what in the what? You're talking about the hole. He has a hole in his hat that he puts his finger in. I know that's what you're referring to.
Well, let me try a real showstopper. What was that spell? It always gets everyone's attention. Feather fall? no, something else. Direfall! Why a ball? Fire hole! Wait, it'll come to me.
You glance at the gathering of children. It seems that the strange Sartan has succeeded in confusing everyone, not just you. Sensing that he's losing the audience, Zifnab says. He's kind of this fourth wall breaking character. In D&D, there's a character kind of like him called Mordenkainen, Fizban, which is I think actually what Zifnab comes from. But Zifnab, Z-I-F backwards is Fizz, N-A-B backwards is Ban, Fizban, so yeah. They bifurcated it at the syllable. Zifnab stands in place, contemplating his spell. The silence lengthens and the children don't mind. They turn to each other and talk, obviously used to these lapses. Time passes, in your crouched position, your leg starts to cramp. Involuntarily, you shift your weight. The movement shakes the bush you use as cover and attracts the Sartan's attention.
Is that a new little friend I see back there? Come on up here. Every new friend gets to grab a handful of pennies from the jar.
It's too late to hide. You've been discovered, so you stand up.
Bugger, aren't you? Wait a moment. You're not a child. In fact, you're not even from Fryan. You're a patron.
Zifnab watches you rise from behind the bush and says, I'm going to be honest with you. You've streamed this numerous times now and I still don't know what it's called. Deathgate. Isn't it? Welcome in, copyright infringement. It is Deathgate. Also, hi. Hello there. Happy Easter, if you are someone inclined to celebrate. Yes, this game is Deathgate. And it is free. If you have a computer of any kind, you can play this game. I say of any kind, that's not fair. I think it's just Microsoft, so a PC. Yes. I guess if you had a PC. If you have a Microsoft PC, pretty well anything back to the 1990s, you should be able to play this game. And I've put a link. I also don't read Retro's titles. That's fine. You can also take a look, again, in the description. Just got back from the church potluck. How nice. Hopefully you've had a nice day. And hopefully your stomach is nice and full with good food then. What was I going to say? Oh, yeah, it's Deathgate, and I have put the link to this game. It's free. So anybody who wants to play it also, along with me or even past me, you can go into the link in my description. It's not a sponsor link or anything like that. I don't get anything for recommending. It's just so you guys have a free game that I found. It's a really cool game. It's abandonware. And they've made a really good working version of it here. The white robe Zifnab wears whips around as he whirls back towards the disc in the ground. Before you can do a thing, he traces a rune construct in the air. The spell floats into the white disc and appears to catch fire. You charge him, but before you reach the disc, he's disappeared to wherever the spell has taken him. And we learned that spell. Let's talk to him real quick.
Hello, good sir.
Hello. Where did he go? Yeah.
Where did he go? Where did who go?
That flaming Sartan. You know, Zifnab.
Oh, Zifnab. I'm not sure. Sometimes he just gets so flustered that he leaves through the disc. Seeing you sure made him flustered for some reason. We'll all wait around for a while to see if he comes back. It's usually worth it if he does.
Do you think your girl would give me her sword if I ask her?
He gets paid $9 to stream this every week. No.
Never. It's a
No.
most valuable possession.
It's there for free.
Before she gave it to anyone.
The goal is basically just to if I find a game that can be legally free and passed out to everybody, I mean, why wouldn't I make everybody aware of where they could play something like? I mean, like, look how cool this is. How cool has this game been so far? I'm a retro lobbyist. I donate to his campaign in exchange for playing a video game campaign. Ask not what your retro can do for you. Ask what you can do for your retro. No, I'm teasing. Don't do anything for that for me. No, but no, I figure it's fun if you decide you want to go into there, you can actually. I usually will put whatever game I'm putting. I usually will put where you can get it for the best price I can find. But for the abandonware games like this one, there's another one that's made. There's another one that's made, I think, from the same team, called Shannara, and also based off of books. And I think it might be abandonware, and if it is, I might play it also. Probably not right back to back, but I might play it also. It's pretty cool. But yeah, this game's neat. So.
Well then, do you think she'd do me a favor if I asked her?
I can't say, but I've never seen her be nice to anyone she didn't know well. If she liked me better, I'd be happy to ask her for you. Maybe someday.
Okay.
What
you said you need the right words.
Princess. First, I need the golden staff of rulers.
Staff.
She'll regard me as an equal if I hold it. But even if I gain her respect with the staff, there's no guarantee she'll like me very much, unless I can give her something nice, something as pretty as she is. I'm lucky that you gave me this book of love poems. If I ever get that far, at least I'll know what to say.
Okay, so it's... something as pretty as she is. Okay.
Thanks, Prince.
We'll follow,
Sure, I'm not going anywhere.
I think we're gonna go ahead and cast a spell on the white disc. Transportation. Retro is streaming on Easter. I mean, have you ever seen him and Jesus in the same room? Just saying. I don't think we look the same, though. I'm fairly certain that I'm very pale-skinned. I have blue eyes. I have blonde hair. Fairly certain Jesus didn't have any of those three things. Fairly certain. They don't call him Big J for they don't call me Big J at all. You weave the spell in the air. It floats lightly over to the disc. It strikes, and an explosion of light obscures everything. Eventually, the light fades, but what reappears isn't at all like what was there before. Your surroundings are completely altered. The only thing that remains is the disc, but its color has changed to black. Does Retro is Messiah? Does Bruno Mars is? Yeah, I think if that's the reference you're making, good reference. Very good reference. The base of a massive branch, shielded by leaves, is home to a dragon. The branch extends over the chasm between the trees. And look at this face right here. You appear on a wide branch. The somewhat weather-beaten Sartan stands in front of you. Behind him, you notice a gigantic reptile. Something you'd heard stories about but never seen. A dragon.
Hello, patron. Before you do anything rash, I must inform you that we are both under the watchful eye of my pet dragon.
Yeah, I like this guy. Zifnab looks smugly at you. He turns to present a monstrous reptilian form stretched out from... Fun fact, by the way, the blue-eye mutation originated in the Middle East, so Jesus might have had them. The blue-eyed mutation is originated from the Cheddar Man, if I'm not mistaken, but I thought the Cheddar Man was a Briton. Could be wrong. Because I was saying, I think he's the first one to have it, but I don't know. I mean, if his ancestors had it, then yeah, they would have been Middle Eastern, but he was a good guy. I haven't seen him in a while. The Cheddar Man sounds like a Disney villain who throws cheese at you. No, he was found in Cheddar, someplace in England. If his ancestors had the mutation, then yeah, it could absolutely have been because they would have migrated. But I think he himself was not from the Middle East. I think he himself was only in England. I could be wrong. I don't know. Sorry. He turns to present a monstrous reptilian form stretched out behind him. Zifnab looks concerned, then kicks the dragon's tail.
Wake up, you stupid dragon! I've got a boogie at 12 o'clock! Unfriendly fire! Traitor in our midst!
Slowly, the dragon opens its huge eye and regards you. The look it gives you says, I know he's a little excitable, but he's mine. Touch him and you'll answer to me. Then it closes the eye and starts snoring.
Whenever I really need him, does he help out? No, he sleeps! It's enough to make someone go out and get a cat!
Zifnab turns back to you and laughs nervously.
Since you're already in my home, I might as well be hospitable. Coffee, tea, a push off of the branch?
Who are you?
I'm Cortex, the thinking machine. No, wait a second, that's not it. I knew a moment ago. Oh, that's right. I'm James Bond, Agent 007. I've got a license to kill, so you'd better keep your distance.
He pats his robe repeatedly with both hands.
And obliterate half a continent. Either that or take your picture.
What?
Something wrong with you? I told you. I'm Bond. James Bond. I don't think this boy's playing with a full deck.
He leans over to the sleeping dragon and whispers rather loudly.
No, you're not. You're Zifnab, the children told me.
Haha, that's just my cover. You a fool, huh? Can't blame you. I'm the best in the business.
So you can see that his 007 wasn't intended to be anything that our character would know about. It's strictly for our benefit.
Quit fooling around. I know you're Zifnab. Although what kind of name Zifnab is, I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah? Well, what kind of name is Haplo?
I didn't say my name. I don't think.
How'd you know my name is Haplo?
Your name is Haplo? Glad to meet you. I'm Zifnab.
He grabs your hand and pumps it up and down.
You didn't answer my question. How'd you know my name is Haplo?
Why, you just told me when you introduced yourself. You'd better start paying attention to the conversation if you're gonna learn anything.
Try to keep it together, Sartan. I need some information.
I love this character.
See, I have a piece of microfilm lodged in my inner ear from my smuggling days, but I can't really talk about that. How about the weather? Pretty sunny, huh? Actually, talking about the weather isn't quite as interesting when it's always the same.
Just looked it up and we're both wrong. It's from the South Ukraine or Northern Anatolia. I might have been thinking about the Anatolia one, but I 100% thought it was around modern Lebanon. I mean, either which way. I mean, it's possible to be. It would make it could be Slavic. It could be. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, I was gonna say I didn't figure. It's not common. It's possible. It's not common for people of the Middle East to have blue eyes. It's not impossible, but it's not likely. I don't believe. But it's. I mean, again, it could be. It would be interesting.
Why are you talking to the children about racial harmony?
But interesting. I have to look into that then. I mean, I trust what you just looked up. I just
Especially the children.
didn't know.
I can impress upon them the importance of peace. They may achieve unification.
Okay.
You've referred to the unification. What exactly is it?
The unification, that's the racial harmony I've been talking about. When all the races come together and are capable of living with each other, the worlds are key to open their resources to the mensche, wake up the sleeping Sartan, and ready the realm for the interconnection.
So he seems pretty nice.
Each world set up its own test to determine when the unification occurred. When the mensche figured out the way into the citadel, when they worked together to enter it, they will have unified. This was supposed to happen in every realm. After all of them were ready, the council was supposed to complete the sundering by interconnecting the realms. The new society would begin. But it's been so long. Far too long.
This character has got to be hundreds of years old.
What do you think went wrong with the plan?
We took on too much ourselves. We were gods, and we were infallible. I warned Summer that we should wait. There were alternatives, but he didn't listen. He was full of his dream.
Zifnab stares off into space, lost in a world of his own. Why are you talking to children about racial harmony? Crumpy American South. I don't know. Being in the American South, it's interesting that the blatant racism isn't as abundant, but the passive racism is. Somebody who will say something racist, but then immediately, not even realizing they've said something racist, go, well, mind you, I'm not trying to, it's like, well, you still kind of perpetuated that, but yeah, okay. What's Dragon?
He's my pet
That's
dragon. I met him shortly after I came to Prian. He took a liking to me, so I decided to adopt him. He told me that he embodies good in the wave. Doesn't make any sense to me. If he's supposed to be the personification of good, then he wouldn't be so lazy.
Rest is good. Rest is good. It's not necessarily lazy.
I know. Hard to believe, isn't it? Especially since he didn't just eat you up as soon as you arrived.
Yeah, but I'm not evil. Oh, well.
Are you implying that I'm evil?
Of course not. Are you inferring that you are evil? That may be important. We might be on the verge of a breakthrough. A few more sessions and we'll be able to make some serious progress on your complex.
What's the wave?
You know, it's when a portion of the audience lifts their arms, followed by another portion, then another until it completes a full circle around the stadium. Oh, wait, that's different. A little harder to explain.
I forget every time I need to fix the music here, so.
More powerful than each other. When that happens, the wave compensates. The dragon was created a long time ago in response to something else. Something very evil.
Let's see if I can get out of here real quick so I can adjust the... Let's turn that down. That way I can hear better. Okay, let me talk to you again, sorry.
If it isn't my favorite patron in all of Prian, what can I do for you?
I'm the only patron in all of Prian, okay.
What is this? Do you know what the evil
is, my good
There we go.
Is. Since my dragon here is still around, you must assume that his evil counterpart is still around as
Zifnab is old. He remembers before the game was made, back when the so-called 90s had baseball diamonds. There'll be some, he breaks the fourth wall a lot. I love it. Let's see if I can.
Let's talk about something else.
All right, how about those Steelers? Think they'll go all the way?
Case in point. How would this wizard in a world not ours know about the Pittsburgh Steelers? I like this character a lot, though.
Where are the other Sartans?
I don't know. Have you seen them? I figured they'd been hiding from me all this time. Some joke. I turn my back for a couple years, take a little moonlight stroll, and they all go away. Well, it's not funny!
This last part is screamed into the air, not directed at you.
Where do you think they could be hiding?
Well, I left them in the Citadel when I went for a walk. I assumed that they'd be along, but they never came. I haven't seen them since.
I got bad news for you. I know where they are.
I found a group of them on Arianis. They were in crystal coffins.
Of course they were. The unification has yet to take place on Arianis. When it does, the coffins will open and the Sartan will come out to help the mensch.
No, you don't understand. I did something there and the coffins opened. All of the Sartan were dead.
They're dead? All dead? How did it happen? How could it happen? You did this, patron, didn't you? Somehow your race has struck back and killed us. Admit it!
Zifnab's face goes ashen. He stares right at you, but you get the impression that he doesn't see you. Fire enters his eyes and he screams. No, I don't want to be.
You're wrong, Zifnab. One of my missions is to find out where the Sartan disappeared to. If the Sartan are dying off, it's not of my doing.
Ah, of course. Your people were imprisoned when this happened. You couldn't have had anything to do with it. There's something else out there.
Zifnab breathes heavily.
How long have you been here? Alone?
I'm not alone. I've got my dragon, I've got the children. I don't need more than that. But it seems like a long time since I've seen any of my people. A long time.
Why are you here?
I don't know why I'm here exactly. Even though our policy is non-interference when it comes to the unification, I felt I had to help it along. It's been so long and the mensche have never been so close as they are now.
So basically, he's not
Let's talk
supposed to
about
mess
something
with it.
else. You're obviously uncomfortable with this subject.
Suit yourself.
Okay, but does he have dragon children? I don't think so, because then he'd have to have little evil ones.
Ah, the seal piece. Your lord needs it, huh? You know, there are better uses for it than what he intends.
So I love this little character, though.
How do you know what my lord intends?
What do patron lords usually intend after they've escaped from thousands of years of imprisonment? You think maybe he wants to conquer the realms, reform the world to enslave the masses? No, nobody's that antisocial.
What do you know about my lord?
Oh, nothing. I'm sure he's a wonderful fella. Life of the party kind of guy. Am I right? I'll bet
So
if
remember,
you told me
Sartan and
about-
patrons are incredibly magically gifted, both of them.
What uses?
Interested? Well, back in the old days, we had plans for those pieces. Big plans. Plans that make other plans look really small. Really huge plans. And important, woo-wee! You don't get any more important than those plans. That's how we made plans in the old days. Big and important.
Okay, what were they?
Well, what were your plans?
What plans?
Don't try and throw me
I
off
love
track.
that.
Where is it?
All right, don't get in a huff. Where did we put that piece? Didn't we build something to put it in? Oh, that's right. It's in the citadel.
Okay.
How do I get in?
That's a toughie. No one can get in. In fact, it was designed to keep everyone out. I certainly don't think any exceptions were made for angry patrons. Of course, after the unification, anyone could just walk right through the front door.
All right.
You mean I'll have to make all of the races get along before I can get that door open?
Well, it's not quite that difficult. We set up a test to detect when the races started to get along. We gave each a symbol. A golden sword to the humans, a golden staff to the elves, and a golden hammer to the dwarves. If a representative from each race places their symbol upon the door to the citadel at the same time, it will open. The three races must do it together. One man with all the symbols wouldn't be able to open the door.
Okay, he gives you a serious look. All right.
Where are all of those symbols?
They certainly didn't take quite the care of them that we hoped they would. Only the humans still revere their symbol, but they look on it as a symbol of leadership instead of its actual meaning, the humans' role in a new integrated society. Every human leader carries it. It gives them the authority to rule. I believe the current holder is the young princess who occasionally comes to my gatherings.
Yep, she's got it.
The elves threw their staff into a local pit called the Maw. It's been lost for generations.
Why would you throw a golden staff? Why would you throw golden anything away?
It's recovered. The dwarfs, straight-lined, practical thinkers that they are, took one look at the hammer, decided that it was the most inferior hammer they'd ever seen, and stuck it deep in their weapons vault. I don't think they even remember that they have it.
Yeah, that's probably true. A golden hammer wouldn't be particularly useful. Gold is not a particularly hard metal.
Didn't you come from there? How'd you get out?
Getting out is not the same thing as getting in. In fact, they're two entirely different things. Yin and yang, night and day, black hat and white hat.
With that, Zifnab removes his hat, squints at it, and pounds on it until it looks worse than ever. Satisfied, he replaces it on his head and smiles.
Tell me more about the Citadel.
All right.
I think we're good. I think we've got what we need.
Suit.
I have had it.
Well, I can't say I'm sorry to see you go, Haplo. But take care. You have many trials ahead of you. The fate of the world rests on your shoulders.
Okay. So he knows that I have... I'm going to take... Can I take this? I think I can take this disc.
You're welcome to take that disc. I can always get my dragon to ferry me back and forth, but unless I miss my guess, you don't have a pet dragon. Without the disc, you're going to have to find another way back to the other tree.
Yep. So I'm going to take... I have the black disc now, and I'll just climb down. Oh, no. Ooh, okay. Let's take some blue flowers. Ooh, those are pretty. I bet those are intended for the princess. I've got to go. Mate, speak later. Have a good one, everyone. No worries. We'll see you later, Mr. Ash. Hope you're feeling better. I used to know a white hat hacker a while ago. She got recruited by the CIA, I think. Very nice. Very, very nice. That's very cool. So, far tree. From this vantage over the deep chasm, you see the tree you started from. So this is where I started. Fine. We'll keep going down. The chasm between the two trees is too large to jump. But I have rope. Can I put... There we go. You wrap the clothesline around the branch and tie a knot in it. After pulling it a few times, you're satisfied that it's secure. That does not look thick enough to hold me, but we're going on it anyway. Okay. And there we go. Swing. And there we go. All right, wonderful. That worked well. And now here I am again. Okay, I can swing back and forth, I guess, as many times as I want. Yep, seems to be sturdy enough. Okay, you stand on a large curving branch that overlooks a sheer drop, which extends further than you can see. I need... I need something else, though.
I've no time for you and your foolishness. You're no kitchen worker, so you've no place here. Take it outside, please.
Okay. I was hoping there was going to be some more of that weed. No, she just won't let me go. I haven't seen George of the Jungle in forever. I remember it when it came out, but I hadn't seen it in a long time. Okay, I guess... We'll see. I'm going to take this black disc and I'm just going to throw it down here. You heave the disc into the bottomless maw. In seconds, it plunges out of sight. I get 10 points for that. So now I'm going to go ahead and save. We'll call it Into the Maw. Latest. And let's delete that real quick. No, let's, yeah. And then we'll change this one to Into the Maw. Latest. There we go. Okay, so now I can go back over here. I should be able to cast the spell of transportation on this again. Oops, right there. You weave the spell in the air, it floats. Yeah, you weave the spell in the air. It floats directly over to the disc, it strikes, and an explosion of light obscures everything. Eventually, the light fades, but what reappears isn't at all like what was there before. Your surroundings are completely altered. The only thing that remains is the disc, but its color has changed to black. Well, this is probably not a great place to be. You stand on a root ledge right in front of the edge of a massive web. In the center, a gigantic spider sits patiently. We have a golden staff here. Towards the center of the web, you spy the silhouette of a staff embedded along with its dead owner inside a pod. One gold end protruding from the pod reflects the little light in the pit. And a corpse. It seems someone else made it to this root ledge, but finding himself here had nowhere to go and died. It appears he had been here for a long, long time. The creature is as big as a house. Venom drips from its wicked fangs, and compound eyes scan back and forth. It sits quietly, patiently, in the center of the massive web, surrounded by pods which contain previous visitors to its domain. The whole effect is rather unsettling. Ooh, we see another corpse here. The web bulges in places where the spider has imprisoned its visitors. You can make out some large animals and a few human or elven figures inside the translucent web pods. Inside one of the pods, you see the silhouette of a staff for this pod. It would be unwise for me to go forward. Sad. Okay, maybe I should cast and get the heck back out of here. Yep. Okay, good. I don't think I have... I can't think of what I would need to beat that spider. Honestly. I think I need... flower... Here, let me give these... I think I can give these to him.
Thank you very much. I still need the golden staff of rulership. She'll only regard me as an equal if I'm holding it. After
I'm sure it's friendly. The bodies are just to decorate.
With these flowers and book
sure.
of poems.
Yeah, that's what it is.
All I need is the staff, but that's probably the hardest thing to get.
Yeah, there's a spider down there. I don't know if you saw it. And it's not just a regular spider. I love spiders, but that thing looks mean. So, yeah, it's little feng shui, you know? See, I think I need... I gave him the flowers. Pink plant. What are these? What is the pink plant? The plant isn't particularly interesting except for its bright pink flowers. What do you think of my new aesthetic? I'm going for homey and sophisticated. I want it to look like... I want it to look lived in. Like 400 years lived in. What do I need? I have this. The nut is about the size of a human head. You see a hole where it is pulled away from the stalk when you picked it. Inside you see that the nut is mostly hollow, except for a small amount of meat. The shell is incredibly hard. It feels like stone. I have the ember. I feel like the ember is going to be able to set it on fire, but then I think that's just going to make it angry. I have marmalade. Well, let's just try some stuff, I guess. In order to go back down there, I need to do magic. Spell of transportation. Okay. There's gotta be something. Oh, I didn't see this. Ledge. Even still, what do I do? Ugly, mean-looking insects swarm around and on the hives, attached to the trees surrounding the maw. Papery hives are attached to many of the trees surrounding this pit. Nasty flying insects crawl in and out of them. So I'm thinking I could maybe... It looks red. It says pink, but it does look red to me, too. So I'm thinking I can do something with these and him, or... But I don't think... I'm missing something. Because if I do what I'm thinking about doing, then I guarantee I'm going to die. Hold on. I know I'm supposed to have... I know I'm supposed to have something else. I just don't remember where to get it from. I thought I got it from her. Oh, I can take the yellow flowers. I was going to click the rope. Heck yeah. The flowers have a sharp, pungent smell, but it isn't particularly strong. Aha, okay. That's where I get it from. I don't know why I thought I got it from over there. Can I take more blue flowers? No. The flowers are simply beautiful, enough to make any woman swoon. Their light fragrance is intoxicating. Any woman would swoon, Alright. Okay, I thought I got them from the cook. I couldn't remember. But it looks... I think those are the ones I need. I'm fairly certain I can crush these. Yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking. It has been too long. Goodness. Okay. Let's try this again. Yeah, I was going to say, I think I believe the flying insects are poisonous. Remember the cook said so the last time we were here? And so I believe I can get them to sting and cause the spider a fair amount of issue. Maybe even kill it. But if I do agitate him, then there's no way to keep them from killing me. And I thought she was using that flower. Remember the chef was using that flower. And I'm thinking, I thought she gave me some, but she didn't. So I'm like, oh, no. Yep, I'm feeling it. I'm swooning. Yeah, I was going to say, what a simple way to look at it. It's like, oh, this will make any woman swoon. It's like, pretty flowers. I like flowers. I'm not a woman, not a pretty woman, but certainly. Yep, that's exactly what I was looking for. I just thought she gave it to me, but when I went over and I had my thing on the rope, I was like, I have them. There they are. Okay, cool. So now I should be able to crush and that. Yep, you crush the yellow flowers in your hand. Somehow the action releases an incredibly foul odor, stronger than anything you've ever encountered. Now I can set the paper on fire. Yeah. Well, this might kill me, but we'll see. As soon as you touch the hot embers to the massive hive on the tree, it bursts into flame. In surprise, you jerk your hand back and drop the shell containing the ember into the web below. The air erupts with nasty, stinging bugs that had made the hive their home. Some of the insects make tentative passes at you, but veer away when they get within range of the foul odor, wafting from the yellow petals. Yep, that's what I was worried about. I knew if I didn't have something, they were going to sting me. Without a target, the insect swarm moves angrily at random. Attracted by the sweet aroma, some fly towards the marmalade, but are immediately driven back by the odor of the petals. Others just fly in circles, buzzing angrily. Oh, the marmalade. I can do this. Can I throw the marmalade? Yes! With a grunt of effort, you heave the jar of marmalade at the spider. It strikes dead center and smashes open. The marmalade splashes all over its disgusting body. You can smell the sickly sweet aroma from here. The insects are immediately attracted to the sweet smell of the marmalade-splashed spider. As one, they swarm towards it. The center of the web becomes a flurry of activity. The stinging insects whirl around the spider as it thrashes in agony. Soon the one-sided battle dies down. The spider slumps into the web in death. Oh, are they just eating the marmalade? Yeah, I'm not going to go mess with them. That'd be dumb. But I can push this. Let's push it. You shove the remains of the ancient traveler to one side. Underneath you discover a patch of toadstools and a glowing arrow. Let's take that arrow. You take the glowing arrow. Underneath you see a patch of small toadstools. Can I take those too? You grab a bunch of toadstools. I sure can. All right. I need this. Towards the center of the web, you spy the silhouette of the staff embedded, along with its dead owner, inside a pod. One golden end protruding from the pod reflects a little light in the pit. What do I have? Oh, I have a shear. Oh, no. Can I use that to cut this? No. No, I want to cut the pod, not the shear. Yeah. You scramble over the web until you get to the pod. There you whip out the garden shear and start to saw away at the thick, sticky strands. After a few minutes, the golden staff, as well as its grisly ex-owner, are completely revealed. You grab the staff and make your way back to the relative safety of the ledge. Can I do the same to can I open this one too? You scramble over the web until you reach the pod. There you whip out a garden shear and start to hack away at the thick, sticky strands. After a few minutes, you expose the desiccated figure within. The smell of the imperfectly preserved body almost makes you ill. After quickly searching the remains and coming up empty, you return to the ledge. Oh, there's nothing there. Oh, and they didn't have to do another animation for it. Okay, so I'm gonna let them just enjoy. Can I take this? It's not gonna let me take a hive that's on fire, but can I take anything from it? Fire dances on the nearest hive. The angry insects who called it home swarm around it. Okay, yeah, better not. I don't know how long these crushed flowers work, so let's just get the heck out of here. Okay. Spell. Transportation. And then we'll cast. Okay. Cool. So I now have the golden staff, and I have this random arrow. Let me look at this arrow. The arrow, although surely decades old, looks as new as the day it was made. It glows with a magic aura. The staff is perfect. Its golden surface is flawless, much like other Sartan artifacts you've found. Okay. I remember I have to get the monkey thing to open it. Can I go ahead and put these in here? Yep. You stuff the nut full of foul-smelling flowers. I remember I have to do that for that monkey thing. Let me give him this golden staff, though. You give the final item to the prince and offer a quick word of encouragement. He breathes deeply to bolster his courage and strides towards the princess, holding the staff out before him like a shield. The prince nervously sidles up to the princess. Her eyes open wide when she sees the object he holds, and she excitedly asks about it. He stammers an explanation, and she nods throughout, but it's obvious that he is losing her attention. He thrusts the bunch of blue flowers towards her. She gasps in astonishment, but smiles and accepts them. For the first time, you notice that she has a twinkle in her eye while looking at the prince. You sense that she is beginning to see the prince as something other than merely an elf or a prince, and more than a friend. She says nothing, however, and the silence begins to expand. That's weird. She's like, you have this thing that is gold, so there, I value you now. The prince pulls out a book of poems and flips through it. He reads at random from a poem which speaks of a man's love for his favorite steed. When he realizes the poem's subject matter, he immediately stops and moves on to another. Instead of being insulted, the princess giggles softly at the prince's boyish attempts to enchant her. Soon he has found a heart-rending poem that actually brings tears to the eyes of the princess, and at the end of the reading, she throws her arms around the prince and kisses him. He drops the book and returns the kiss. After a few minutes, a smiling prince wanders back to you.
It worked! All of it! She has agreed to consider my courtship, and I owe it all.
Boy, that was quick. She didn't like you at all or value you as a person,
but I will try.
To wanting to potentially marry you.
Here, but I know not what it is. I will accompany and help you as I can, and perhaps I can give you some fraction of the happiness you have given me.
That whole bug sequence was one of the nicest solves I've seen in a point-and-click. Good logic foundation, good all around. This game's fun. Honestly, I think this company makes... I think they made a couple, but at least of them, they made this one, and I think they made another one called Shannara. And I think Shannara is also... I know it's also off of books, but I think it's also the same or very similar. But I think it actually has, like... if I remember correctly, it has like an overworld map. It has... what was the other thing it has? It's got like an actual point-and-click combat system, turn-based combat system, stuff like that. It's a little bit more complicated. I think this one's more pure. I think this one's a more pure point-and-click, but I really enjoy it because again, what I've said before, I really think that one of the biggest things that we're losing as a species is the ability to tell stories, and I think point-and-click adventure games are some of the purest forms of that in gaming. Personally. Doesn't necessarily mean that there are no other expressions, but I think that these are some of the purest expressions. Okay, can I talk with her now? Will she...
Greetings. My prince explained that you are a friend
My
of his
prince?
and
Oh
that
my
you helped
goodness.
bring us together.
Oh, one of the characters in Shannara looks like her too, kind of, if I remember.
My role in your romance was nothing, dear princess.
On the contrary, it means everything to me. I am not blind to what the consequences of our union could mean to our races as well. It could unite our peoples. This could usher in a new age of peace. You are largely responsible for that.
Okay. let me just really wingman for him here.
The prince is a sweet guy, isn't he?
He's very sweet. A little naive, but all the more adorable because of it. I never really thought of elves that way, but he changed my mind.
Can I ask a favor? Let's see. Can I have a favor?
Would you mind doing me a favor?
A favor? Certainly. What is it?
I was wondering if
She
you
can
could
come with
accompany
me.
somewhere. I need you to use your golden sword for a task.
Of course I'll help you. I can't imagine what task would require my golden sword. It's not much of a weapon.
Thanks for the rec as always, Retro. Anyway, time to give some flowers to someone that barely cares about me. Hopefully we'll instantly become engaged. Yeah, that's kind of, I mean, that's the thing is we remember that this is where the storytelling kind of can get a little weird, but remember that originally they are different races. She's a human, he's an elf, and they don't view each other as, they don't actually honor each other's personhood in the same way. So it's very, it's very unbelievable, I think, in that way, but oh well, you know, it's happy. Okay, so I now have the... Boy, she does not look anything like... He looks the same, but she looks really different when she smiles. Okay, so let's go other places. Can I go... There was a forest of trees I thought I saw earlier that was... Where did that monkey go that I had? Oh, you know what? I know where. Hold on. I need to go... I know what I have to do. I need to get back to my ship. Oh. That's just letting me go through faster. I need to use the steering wheel because I need to go down here. I also kind of like the music of this game a lot. I'm sticking around just to... Oh, no worries. I got what you were getting at. I appreciate you for being here nonetheless. I do hope that this is... I do hope that this game is... people are able to play it and enjoy it. Yes, you'll have the puzzles, kind of, but it's just something... It's a different thing to do it altogether, in my opinion. So let's go... Wrong way. Okay, so this is where I'm going to need them to go. Here we go. This thing, I got to give you this. You toss the nut to the animal perched on the branch. A lightning-quick claw snatches the nut from the air. The animal tucks it close to its furry body, inserts two pointed talons into the hole in the shell, and exerts pressure. With a crack, the nut breaks open. The yellow petals stuffed inside the nut fly everywhere. One whiff makes the animal's nose wrinkle up. Evidently, this isn't how its favorite food is supposed to smell. It hurls the nut back at you. When it lands, the meat of the nut falls right out at your feet. And I will take that. Thank you. Oh, okay, I guess I did what I was supposed to. You've taken enough of the poor animal's food supply. It doesn't look like he's hurting for... Okay, fine. So that tells me... That's one of the ways it tells me that, hey, you don't need to do any more. You're good. Okay. And... She looks horrified. The forest is unnaturally still. There are no sounds of birds or animals. There is no wind. A young dwarf girl is tied to a tree with vines here. She looks desperate. I have a shear. I probably could cut. Nope. The vines. Whoops. You approach the struggling dwarf, but when you come within a few yards of it, the surrounding trees shake. Giants appear, lumbering menacingly towards you. They look vaguely human, save for their lack of hair, their huge size, and their eyeless faces. Something other than sight must direct them, for they avoid all obstacles in their single-minded pursuit of you. You retreat, rather in a rush, and the forms melt back into the trees. The dwarf slumps in despair. I believe there was a book. Was it this one? I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I believe there was a book that had a musical tune that talked about the Titans. Spelled weird. Yep, Titans. Spelled weird. I clicked the wrong bloody thing. Goodness sakes. Let me try again. Okay. I think this was the book that had the music in it. I just have to make sure. Yep, there it is right there. So if I go here... So yeah, they would be immobilized. Okay, I thought that's what it was. So let me see if I can ask her.
Greetings, my...
That's a nice flute you've got there.
Eyeless giants feel like a reference to some mythology. The Slavic. I don't know. I mean, it could be, honestly, it could be a reference to golems, which I think was, Judaism had a thing about golems, which were similar. Could be wrong. I know for a fact that Judeo-Christianity has, but they're not like druidic kind of trees. They're like made of multiple metals and clays. Okay, so thank you. It was given to me by the Wonder Hunt Tracks also. Okay, so you know how to play. Can you... Oh, you have a cough.
Ill? It sounds like you've got a cough.
I do have a slight cough, but it's nothing. I caught a chill in a downpour a little while ago. I'll get over it eventually. Just now, it's not that bad.
Good. Can I ask you to play a song?
Me a favor?
A favor?
There we go.
Could you take a look at this book? It has some written music in it. I'd like to know if you could play it.
This is incredible. It's music from the ancients. What an amazing find. Would you like me to play it?
She takes the book from you and gently flips through it. As soon as she comes across the written music, her eyes brighten.
Yes, start playing it now if you would.
Very well. Just tell me when to stop.
Okay. You slip next to the struggling dwarf and pull out the garden shears. The princess' melody appears to keep the giants at bay while you saw through the dwarf's bindings. The vines fall away just as the princess coughs and stops playing the flute. The forest erupts with the towering brutes all racing towards you with murder in their eyeless faces. You grab the dwarf's hand and sprint off to the south. The crowded forest falls away, and when your party finally has reached the clearing, you notice that the giants have stopped following you. The dwarf girl gasps for breath. Her legs were obviously made for negotiating much shorter distances. After she recovers, she looks up at you. Naturally, you expect the small creature to overwhelm you with gratitude. She looks pretty eh.
Why did you rescue me?
What? Oh, okay, that's a very adorable voice to come out of. I expect... Okay.
Because you were in trouble. Everyone should help out those in need.
Wow, you really helped me just because I needed help? That's so nice. I don't believe it.
She wipes away a tear snaking down her sideburns.
It's a custom among my people to give a favor in return for one, especially one as significant as saving a life. All you have to do is ask.
Ooh, you got a golden hammer? I could use one.
I don't really want anything.
I'm afraid it's a tradition. The elders would have my hide if I didn't repay you in kind.
I don't want anything that you had on the list. Small ailments in fantasy are always no big deal. It's fine, don't worry about it. The cough will go away soon. But then it ends up being like the Black Plague.
That's fine, but could I talk with you a while before I ask for anything?
Of course. What do you want to talk about?
How'd you get captured?
I wandered into the forest of giants when I shouldn't have. I just wanted to see them. Everyone told me that they were actually bigger than humans. I couldn't believe it until they jumped out of the trees and grabbed me. The giants don't bother anyone unless you go into their forest. They're pretty touchy about that.
Apparently.
Lucky they tied me up instead of stepping on me.
Yeah, but it would have been like tying a shoestring as big as they were compared to the vines that bound you.
Do they normally squash intruders?
That's what the elders say, and no one's ever said differently. I thought maybe they were exaggerating just to keep us out of the forest, but maybe not. At least they only tied me up.
Yeah, but why would they have tied you up
Tell me what you
instead
know
of
about
squashing you?
giants.
Many generations ago, my ancestors dug their tunnels here. When they emerged from the ground to have a look around, they encountered the giants. They weren't friendly, and definitely not especially happy to meet us.
Okay.
Mayhem broke out. The dwarves weren't used to war, but they were quick studies. They forged weapons and battled the giants for years.
Okay.
One day, the giants suddenly stopped fighting. They drew back into the forest and remained there. As long as we stayed out, they left us alone. We keep the store of weapons in a vault, though, ready just in case the giants change their minds and attack. We also have an interesting legend about the giants.
Okay. I'll ask about the legend.
These giants.
According to legend, the giants are the children of the Shining City. They lived inside it and were very happy, but they always wondered what lay outside of the city's walls. One day they snuck out. The city discovered them missing.
I think this Shining City is what's beyond the Citadel door, if I'm not mistaken.
Closed its doors, leaving them outside. The Shining City became dark in its sorrow. The giants moved into the forest nearby. They hoped that one day the city would reopen its doors and let them in. The only memory of their time inside was a gem that one of them had brought with them. They cherished that memory and guarded it jealously. One day the city's heart grew lonely. It decided to forgive its errant children and invite them to return, so it began to shine again. If the giants had seen it, they would have rushed home. But the city had taken their eyes and they couldn't see the beckoning light. So they remained inside the forest.
I kind of like that legend. That's kind of cool.
Long ago, and the city waits for its children who will never return. We dwarves believe that if only we could lead the giants back to the city, they would go in and leave the forest to us. We know that they are guarding the gem at the center of the forest. A few brave dwarves have entered the forest in hopes of stealing the gem and bringing it to the Shining
I'm gonna bet
City.
that gem is probably either... That's probably the seal piece I need, maybe? But I don't think the seal pieces I need are made out of gemstones.
What do you know about the
Let me see.
Supposedly, it's huge and crystal and has strange writings on it.
Ah.
Actually, it's not supposed to be all that valuable. Crystal's not worth much. You'd figure that something they guarded so fiercely would be worth more.
It does sound like it could have at least the seal... this insignia on it.
Enough about these giants.
Okay.
All right? What else do you want to know?
Let's see. Golden
Know
hammer.
anything about a golden hammer?
A golden hammer. I'm not sure. Wait, I think there's a golden hammer in the weapons vault. A few years ago, there was a false alarm. We thought that the Titans were attacking, so the elders ordered that the vault be opened. Everyone took up weapons and headed towards the forest. At that point, we realized we had been tricked. Some child got his rear tanned, and everyone went to replace their weapons.
Okay.
I was one of the first in the vault, and I noticed a golden hammer shoved way in the back. No one had taken it. I looked at it to find out why. The weight was all wrong, and I determined that it was actually forged of gold. Can you believe it? A soft metal like gold? One strong blow and the thing would flatten. I don't understand why anyone ever made such a useless weapon.
Well, that giant thing is a potent allegory, too. A harsh punishment can forestall reconciliation in the future from damaging the other party too badly. It could be. It could absolutely be. But I wonder if that's as a result of... And to just kind of increase that, I almost wonder if that is the allegory for punishing ambition that outstrips ability. It seemed like that could have been kind of a part of the... Or it seemed like that could have been the idea of having their eyes dazzled away effectively. It could be. Ooh, do you think that...
Do you think you could get it for me? That could be my favor.
I don't think so. The only time the vault is open is in response to an attack by the giants. They never make exceptions. In fact, ever since the false alarm, they are more careful than ever to
No, that's
verify
wonderful. The boy who cried wolf screws us again.
dwarves harming themselves or others, either by accident or deliberately, by using these weapons. Some of them are very dangerous.
Okay.
Could you go ask the elders if they'd make it?
Maybe.
No one seems to want the hammer anyway.
I could ask, but I already know the answer. Nothing is going to open that vault except an attack from the giant, and I really hope that doesn't happen in my lifetime. I'll go, though. Wait here. I'll be back soon.
Okay. The dwarf girl grabs the branch sticking out of the dead tree trunk and pulls it in an intricate motion, which you take the time to memorize. In response, a hidden door pops open. She ducks inside and scuttles downward into a tunnel. So, copying the movement of the young dwarf, you pull at the twisted branch sticking out of the stump. A door pops open inside and you see a narrow tunnel that leads straight down. Can I go in there?
It's just as I thought. The elders agree that I should fulfill my obligation, but they cannot open the vault unless we are at war. Have you thought of anything else you want?
I don't know about anything else.
Let me introduce you to my
Fine with me?
compatriots. Yeah.
Let me introduce you to my companions.
The small dwarf greets your companions. The prince bows graciously. The dwarf looks a little reserved, perhaps wondering if he's making fun of her height. She says a few words. Excuse me. Still recovering. She says a few words, and the prince appears a little taken aback by the dwarf's gruff and direct comments. But they speak a bit more, and soon both are laughing and enjoying each other's company. The dwarf girl soon turns to the prince, and, after the initial pleasantries, the princess lapses into a coughing fit.
That's a nasty cough you've got there, princess. But I know a surefire remedy. It only requires 4 ingredients, and I've got one of them with me. Let's see. You'll need some dead man's friend, the meat from a zuzu nut, the roots of the plith plant, and the dried herbs that I carry.
Pretty darn sure I've got those. I know I have the zuzu. Let's see.
What the heck is Dead Man's Friend?
It's a fungus, a toadstool that tends to grow under carrion, dead bodies. That's why it's known as Dead Man's Friend.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I have that.
Can you tell me about the zuzu nut?
The nut is named after the zuzu, a shy animal that survives on a diet of just the meat of the nut. It's considered a delicacy, and it's very hard to come by. The nut shell is incredibly thick. It's almost impossible to open. The zuzu has to be very strong just to crack them. I think you'll find a grove of the nuts off to the west. Good luck in getting at the meat.
I already did it. What is the plith plant?
Where am I going to find
Is that red one? Or pink one that I have?
Not rare. You should be able to find them anywhere.
Yep.
They
Haha.
have pink flowers. If you see those, just pull up the whole plant. You should get the roots along with everything else.
I did.
Can I have those herbs?
Sure. I've got them here somewhere.
She paws through her dusty garments and emerges holding a handful of dried herbs. Smiling, she hands them over to you.
What are you supposed to do with all of these things?
Just feed them to her. It all ends up in the same place. After she's eaten them all, she should have shaken off that nasty cough.
Okay.
You think that this favor would make us even?
You think a simple cough remedy is worth my life? I owe you far more than that. You keep thinking about what you need. This is just being friendly.
The dwarves always seem to be super friendly. I don't know why. And this one, like normally they're gruff and kind of like, this. Here they seem. She seems stricken. They seem very friendly.
Some other things?
I like
Sure.
that. Okay, hold on.
Could we go back to the subject of...
What do you need?
I think I have an idea.
This is getting us nowhere. The only thing I need is the golden hammer. Could you go try again to get it?
Nothing's going to change. But if it will make you happy, I'll go back in and rack my brains. I'll try everything, and I won't come back out until I've got it. Don't get your hopes up.
She huffs in frustration.
Very well. If you do somehow get the hammer, meet me at the Shining City. I need you to do something with it there.
The dwarf girl slips back into the hollow stump and closes the door behind her. Okay, let me go ahead and open that again, though. Okay, and then... Oh, do I need to talk to her to get her to do it?
My friend.
Would you mind doing...
A favor?
Did you scratch my back?
Could you scratch my back right here?
A nasty gleam in her eye, she pulls out the golden sword. You decide against the back scratch. Okay. I was just curious as to what would happen. I need to know...
Thanks, Princess.
Sure.
I need to feed you these things. The princess accepts the toadstools and gobble them down. Okay. Okay. Dried herbs. And the plith plant. There we go. The princess accepts the pink plant and gobbles it down. After she finishes her snack, she looks up in surprise. She breathes deeply, but her lungs are clear. Her cough has disappeared. Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so now she shouldn't start coughing if we have to go and play the music anymore. So let's go. I need you to play that music again.
Great.
Because I want to go deeper into the forest.
Would you mind doing me a favor?
A favor?
Could you start playing the tune from that book?
Very well.
Okay. I don't want you to stop. I just want you to keep playing. Now let's keep going. The further you move into it, the darker the forest becomes. You see more titans scattered throughout the trees. The forest is lousy with titans. There are almost as many of the giants as there are trees. Okay. Titans have gathered around one tree here. High in its branches you see something made of crystal, clearly the focus of the Titan's attention. Good. I need you to get it because I need her to not stop playing the music.
Yes, my friend?
Yeah.
Could you climb the...
I thought he was going to ask.
Crystal?
All right, I'll be back in a moment.
Good. The prince tiptoes around the unnaturally still giants, vaults up the tree, and grabs the crystal fragment. He climbs part of the way down, looks around nervously at the titans, and drops heavily to the ground. He runs up and delivers the crystal to you, sweating and puffing. Okay, we need to simulate an attack. I think we get the heck out of here. Can I... Oh, it is... It looks like a seal piece to me. Exiting the forest, you notice a deep rumbling behind you. You realize that the titans further in are probably out of the range of the flute's melody. They've fallen out of the thrall. Notice their precious relic has been stolen and started to rampage directly towards it, and not coincidentally you.
They're coming and they'll be here before you know it.
Soon, the booming of giant footsteps totally drowns out the melody. The princess stops playing and yells.
The relic! That's what they're really after! We've got to get rid of it!
The prince thinks for a moment and exclaims, yeah, let's get rid of it then. Let's take this. I'll throw it down here. You toss the crystal fragment in the hollow stump. You hear it bump against the sides as it falls deep into the dwarven caves below. She said they wouldn't do anything unless it was an attack. I figured to simulate an attack is the best way to do it, right? Titans come crashing through the forest, no longer concerned about what they crush in their paths. They totally ignore you and your companions and focus on the stump in the middle of the clearing. After a couple of attempts, they slowly begin to realize that even the smallest of their number is never going to be able to fit inside the dwarven tunnel. Although this fact might have stopped someone even slightly smarter, the Titans aren't even slowed. With bare hands, they begin to excavate their own tunnel. Dwarf curses and battle cries float up from the hole. Wonderful. Compared to the silent, motionless, tree-like state you were accustomed to, these frantic wild Titans are like tornadoes. They leave a swath of destruction throughout the forest as they search for their artifact. Okay, can I enter it? You climb inside the hollow stump, but quickly realize that the dwarven tunnel is far too narrow for your girth. Indeed, it is probably too narrow for any race, save the dwarves themselves. You clamber out of the trunk and brush yourself off. Okay, let me get out of here then.
I was standing there in the tunnel
There we go.
with an elder about opening up the vault when the crystal gem dropped from above right on the elder's head. Before I could even laugh, I heard the pounding of the giants trying to get inside the tunnel. The elder went crazy. He sounded the alarm and opened the vault right then and there.
Perfect.
I grabbed both the crystal gem and the golden hammer and took a back tunnel here. I guessed that I could get rid of my obligation to you and lead the giants back to their home. Here's the hammer you wanted. I'm glad to have been able to repay you. Now all we have to do is wait for the giants to come home. They'll arrive, the doors will open, and everyone will be happy.
She's very optimistic.
I hope.
As hard as she tries, she can't conceal her fear at the pounding footsteps that get closer with every passing moment. You direct the three youngsters to put their respective symbols into the recesses on the citadel door. None of them grasped your meaning entirely, but you are sure that all will be made clear shortly. When the last symbol is slid into place, the doors swing inward, revealing a gleaming city, an ancient city of the Sartan. And the door just disappears? The Titans arrive, legs pumping, but when they come upon the gaping doors of the citadel, they lose all interest in the crystal fragment. Instead, they file into the city and take positions in front of massive machines, as if they knew what they were doing.
There's room enough for all of the races here. If we could live together, we could do it better than ever.
It seems that they do. A few minutes of tinkering and button pressing pass before the city comes to life. Lights flare and the entire citadel begins to hum pleasantly. The mensche wander in, and their eyes wide with wonder. Thinking about your quest, you regain the crystal fragment from the distracted dwarf. The mensche go on, but something else has attracted your attention. An archway only a few dozen feet inside the citadel is decorated by the fire seal piece. A flare just inside the citadel's gate catches your eye. You see Zifnab coughing and ineffectually brushing soot from his robes. He looks up, sees you as well, and smiles.
Haplo, my boy! I knew you could do it! They put their symbols into the face of a...
Now remember, I'm supposed to... These guys are supposed to be my enemy, so this guy's awful... This guy's an awful... This guy's a sweetheart for anybody to...
They trust you.
To be evil.
Does your heart good to see them together, doesn't it? Too bad it's only for a little while, It's a good thing they don't know that you're just scouting for your lord. That soon he will destroy these children's lives for his dreams of conquest. That would just ruin their day. Better keep this between you and me if you know what I mean.
He turns to the three men running through the citadel, exclaiming their delight at each new discovery. He puffs up his chest and wipes away a tear.
Don't worry, Haplo. I won't interfere in your mission. In fact, I have a present for you. I tried to take up a collection around the office, but no one there seems to like you very much.
What office? All of the Sartan are dead right now.
Side of evil. That doesn't make you very popular.
Or at least most of them.
Ideas of a going-away present took the form of a punch in the mouth.
You're so dumbfounded by the Sartan speech that you stare at him without saying a word. Zifnab continues.
I stuck up for you, though. He's not a mindless puppet, I said. He has very good reasons for wanting to destroy everything. I'm sure he's thought this whole thing through. They seemed a little doubtful, but I know my old buddy Haplo. You'll come.
I wish we were old buddies. I would like to be your best friend, but we just met like an hour ago.
Anyway, since no one chipped in, I got you this.
He hands you an ordinary rock.
Genuine, 100% natural, roughly spherical, all-purpose evil combating device. Really? I know you're thinking, Zifnab, how can this obviously rare and well-crafted document holder also combat evil? Well,
well-crafted document holder.
This particular paperweight is magic. That's right. As the stone approaches true evil, it will glow. Soon, you will encounter an evil greater than any you've ever known, even in the labyrinth. And it has magic. Horrible, powerful, destructive. Much different than the magic that we command. The rock will react to this magic. The closer you get, the brighter it will glow. When you are in its very presence, crush the rock. You'll know the right time.
Zifnab's face goes sober.
What will happen when I crush it?
I don't know, but I'm sure that it will be impressive. And just in case it doesn't work, use the backup plan. Hurl that sucker. I find that a nice solid puck upside the head always slows evil down.
Zifnab thinks very hard and then says,
Now you're thinking, how can he afford to give this away? Well, that's very astute of you, Haplo. I can't afford it. Of course, I'm taking...
Why is he becoming a car salesman now?
But when your friends start asking you, where'd you get that great evil combater? You tell them you got it from old Zifnab. And soon they're telling their friends, and they're telling their friends. Eventually, everyone has a Zifnab special.
Whomever did his voice, I adore the voice that they did. I hope that they're still around.
Take Priam's seal piece, Haplo. Go back to your lord, but remember what you've seen here. Remember these people. Consider carefully exactly what you are doing and why.
Zifnab turns to look at the sprawling crystal city. He turns and exits the citadel. By the time you reach the doorway to follow, he has disappeared. And there are all of the Titans. The Titans are gathered in a chamber so brightly lit that you have to squint to make them out. Perhaps this is why they were created without the ability to see. I'm going to go ahead and take that. Look how beautiful this is, though. The interior of the citadel is more impressive than the exterior. Spires and towers jut from the lower structures, all of which appear to be connected at some point. It's one huge building, as big as a city, functional as well as beautiful. All right. I think there's only one direction I can go, and that's out. So, now we'll go back to my ship, I guess. Yep. And now we will... I have to remember how to do this every time. It's rune transfer. To the steering stone. What? When you look closely, you notice that the crystal object is a fragment, a piece of something larger. It is roughly octagonal and has the naming room for the world of stone carved into it. You guess that it is a fragment of a copy of the entire world seal carved from crystal. Oh, you know what? That's right. I need this. This one's what I have to rune transfer because... I see. Okay. Cast. Oops, sorry. Spell. Rune transfer. And then cast. And then that here. Okay. And then... we'll use the steering... yep. You take the dragon ship back to the Death Gate and return to the Nexus. Check out these awesome graphics. I wonder whether the white and cyan color scheme has universally taken over depictions of advanced utopias. I think that, so white, obviously historically, even modern, is purity, clean, which is part of, I guess, what utopias are intended. And then cyan is, I think, reflective of clear waters and clear skies. So if you add purity with, if you add the color that is symbolically purity with the and I'm not saying that that's what I'm not saying any color is obviously that, but that's what, when you do red, white, and blue, or when you do, a lot of times white is supposed to mean purity, in the case of like a flag. And so I think if you take what is symbolically a color affiliated with purity, and then you take what is symbolically a color also affiliated with purity that is kind of natural, so like, again, pure water, cyan water, beach water, which ironically is generally not potable but is beautiful. And then you also add in, clear skies as cyan. You end up with a color scheme that kind of represents this idealistic or this kind of symbolic purity, and then also this kind of naturally occurring purity. And those are those two things. I think that's why, but I couldn't be sure. Okay. Let's see. There we go. Okay. Let's get out of here, and we'll give the seal piece to Czar. What's this? Oh, it's the little thing that Zifnab gave me. You hand over the fire seal piece and quickly recount your experiences on Priam. Czar listens closely to your description of Zifnab and the Titans, obviously troubled by both encounters.
Excellent, my son. You exceed even my best expectations. Not only did you recover Priam's seal piece, But you have discovered a living Sartan. I doubt that he is alone as he claims, and the addition of these Titans to his forces means that he is someone to be reckoned with. I will have to adjust my plans to compensate. We might have to destroy this citadel to be sure of the giant's destruction. It is a shame you couldn't bring Zifnab back with you for further questioning. You have the crystal fragment of the world seal. Use that to place the naming rune of Abarak upon your steering stone, and then leave as soon as you can. Events are occurring at a fast pace. If even one Sartan knows you exist, we must assume they all do. But we need information. I must know what the other realms are like, where the Sartan's forces are, and what they number. And I need those seal pieces. Good luck, my son.
I think that explanation makes sense. Perhaps throwing the idea of futuristic tech having bright colors and sharp contrasts as well. I would normally have thrown that in, and I agree with that now. I think so this game came out in 1994. I think the idea of white and chrome kind of being the future more came from that you had things like the Jetsons, but even in the Jetsons you have a lot of things that are colorful, reds and greens and things like that. It wasn't really the idea of just crystal clear chrome, white, and blues and skeuomorphism almost didn't really become huge until the early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s. So 99, 2000, 2001, that's when it kind of really came into the futuristic tech. Because even think about Star Trek, which is Next Generation, all of their stuff is... The ship itself is the white gray, but if you look even at the technology they have, it's purple, like the LCARs, purple and orange and red, black, So it's like, it could be a part of that, but I'm not sure if that was the influence for this particular game, just because of the divide in what was occurring in the science fiction realm at this time versus when that white, chrome, clear, blue kind of became dominant in future, which is definitely I remember 2000 really well, and everything was that, and I still love that aesthetic too, just because I think it's really fun. But
Zifnab seemed mad, but he genuinely cared about the mensche there. He had a plan to make their lives better.
Who knows how far gone that Sartan was? Living in solitude with those mensche would have driven anyone insane. No wonder he was obsessed with them. Hopefully, when the world is reformed and we destroy the Citadel, he'll disappear along with it.
Well, that's a shame. He's really kind.
What about Zifnab's dragon? Do you consider him a threat?
If I believed in him, I would. Don't take this personally, my son, but dragons are fairy tales, legends, nothing more. This Zifnab played on your gullibility. I've read that used to command the...
I'm pretty sure I saw a dragon.
Must have created the dragon for your benefit, to keep you from killing him. It worked, didn't it?
If you destroy the Citadel, won't that kill the mensche that have moved inside?
Are you questioning my tactics? Don't you understand?
Okay.
The threat represented by the Titans far out...
How much of a role do you think the relatively late invention of the blue LEDs played? It was weird because, it could have played a role in it. Blue LEDs didn't come along until about the 90s, I don't think. I think it was like the early mid-90s, something like that. It wasn't, I don't think it was super late. But I think it's weird that a lot of if you go back and you look, I'll give you an example. Go back and take a look at music videos of that time. The lighting is almost always going to be like, and I'm not going to say LED per se, but the room temperature lighting is almost always north of 5,000 Kelvin. And blue LEDs are generally not that aggressive. So I don't know that it played a huge role in that, unless you were doing like spaceship. Like if you early 2000s, late 90s, early 2000s, they're doing some 3D stuff. Music videos, television shows. They're doing like spaceships and three-dimensional graphics, very rudimentary. And in those cases, you would see blue light, and that probably was indicative of the LED being kind of the one of the great and modern technological marvels. But I think that if you take a look at the majority of the stuff that was kind of depicting the future, most of it was going to be lighting. It was white and it was clear and it was chrome, and then it was lighting that was anywhere between 5,000 and 5,600 Kelvin, so very white, bright light, and highly reflective. I mean, almost to the point of where every person in that room would have to have worn sunglasses not to have undergone some sort of permanent sight damage. And so, I feel like that was the purpose, is to make the future was to seem bright and clean and shiny, more than it was to actually celebrate actual technological marvels. You know, it's possible. It's very possible. And I do think that I think that there were a couple of examples, specifically in Italy, of like Italian futuristic kind of depictions in media where that was where blue light was kind of a part of it, and I think that could be homage to blue LED. But I think for the majority of it, I think the idea was just this kind of was more into the three-dimensional, the bright, the shiny, the reflective, and again, especially with chrome, this kind of skeuomorphism where it was the intent was to project the idea of something that wasn't really there as if it were there, which of course we now can do on a cell phone. But back then, this was something you would have to have a multi-X amount of dollar production to do.
That's enough for right now.
Very well.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and go to the World of Stone. I think that's where I'm going to call it stop, because that world is pretty tough. The spherical crystal globe glows with an inner magical light. It's an ancient Sartan artifact. Zar doesn't seem to mind using it, though. Yeah, I mean, if it helps you read, right? That's the Nexus seal. This is a beautiful office, too, though. So the idea of the Sartans, they kind of put this up there, and I love this, is patrons have black hair with white tips and wear black robes with white, and then Sartans wear white with black. And there's the symbology in that particular instance is supposed to be kind of the yin and yang part of things, which I think is nice. But anything you see that Sartan is almost always going to have this light blue, kind of very clean look. We haven't seen anything patron yet. We will at the end, I remember that, but it's going to be really, you can see at the back of his black gray hair is more white tipped back here, but yeah. Thanks for the digression. Interesting to hear the perspective of someone who's lived through all of that. There's a doc on YouTube about the difficulties of inventing the blue LED white, by the way, if you're interested. Yeah, I absolutely would be interested in taking a look at that. Yeah, I know. I remember all of that pretty darn well. Honestly, I really like that time. I like. It's really interesting to see how things changed so drastically from the 80s and the 90s to the 2000s, because they each very much have their own incredibly distinct aesthetic. And like the 90s was very much, the early 90s, early to mid 90s was very much, or were very much an extension, I think, of the 80s. And I think that's kind of how we look at decades and we say the 80s, which we think of 80 through 89, which of course is what the 80s are. But if you pay attention, a lot of times you'll see the first 3 to 5 years of a decade are generally just the continuation of the previous decade. So I'd argue that in terms of impact, you should almost measure it 1985 to 1995 and 1975 to 1985 and so on and so forth. Because if you take a look at what 1980 looked like, it very much looked like 1970s, looked like 1979. 1981 looked a lot like 1979. It wasn't until you started getting to 84, 85 that you started to see this kind of more, this departure from these kind of more pastels. And of course, obviously, television also kind of wasn't very advanced, so you didn't have, high definition colors and such. You had Technicolor, obviously, but it was like everything was kind of washed out in pastel. And of course, that was also the fashion. And then when you get into the 80s and the technology gets a little bit better, then you end up getting into these more, kind of colorful, and they kind of push into that. So you've got people wearing these jackets, these windbreakers, and these puffy jackets and shoes and leg warmers and things like that, scrunchies in the hair. And they're very hot pink and yellow and blue and very colorful. And then you start to see that kind of extend when you're watching things like the X-Men animated series and Jubilee's character, which comes out of that era, where she's wearing this pink shirt with a yellow jacket with blue jean shorts, and But it was very much that. It was very much and colorful rooms with black as a base coat, and then just colors painted over it of different shapes, usually like triangles, circles, squares, and squiggly lines, right? Zigzagged lines. And that was the aesthetic of like the 80s and the early mid 90s. And then by the time we started hitting kind of the late 90s and the early 2000s, that's when we ended up in like the sci-fi chrome, white, light blue if you have it, you know, more chrome than light blue, but you know, which kind of took over that. And then we moved out of that into, and now we've gotten into the era where we kind of put up like a filter to dull colors in a lot of cases, which is very contrary, because if you go back and you look at recolored, restored Technicolor 1960s stuff, like everyone's wearing really colorful stuff, and nowadays we've muted everything to look like it's being shot through a gray filter or whatever. It's like, not as fun. But anyway, another digression. Apologies. So let's go ahead and go out. We'll go into our ship. Let's go ahead and use the steering stone. You call on the power of the steering stone to take you through the Death Gate and into Abarak, World of Stone. This is what 1994 graphics look like, though. Charming, though, aren't they? I think. Doesn't look much like stone to me. It looks like we just got back from the world of fire. This looks like this should be it. Your ship flies from the Death Gate into a river of lava. Walls of dark rock enclose you in a giant cavern so large that it actually houses a city carved from the stone. You dock the ship a small distance away. Whee! Look at that little city. Right there. That's smaller than my ship. Okay. It's like the ship's really there. Yep. We'll take a step out and see what it looks like real quick. If I remember, it's pretty bad. I think this is the hardest. I could be wrong. I think this is the hardest one for me to remember. But we'll try. Your ship floats in a river of lava alongside a stone embankment. In the distance, you see a dark city. We can go to that city. You'll have to walk onto the path to the northeast before you can stroll into the city. Okay. Ah. So I remember here a hulking figure shuffles from a dried up pond to a field long dead. Behind him a cave opens into a cavern wall. Beyond the lava river you see a city in the distance. And I believe this, dead. The hulking corpse just stares at you.
Greetings. Who are you?
Jethro.
So calling it the rocks, I guess so, yeah. That's a good point. I hadn't thought of it that way.
That's a nice bucket. Would you give it to me?
The corpse looks at the bucket for a moment and then silently hands it to you. Thank you. I guess he's going to go through the motions anyway. Looks like it has a hole in it. Age has rusted and ruined the once strong metal bucket, so that carrying water in it would be impossible. Welcome everyone to the read-through of the Retro Room's new Doctor Who script, with the Doctor going back in time to have a good old chat with Schopenhauer, asking the most important question of all, would you like some toast? And of course Schopenhauer would be like, why does it matter? Follow the path. You're surrounded by the stone buildings of the deserted town, including a clock tower to the east and an elegant residence to the north. The base of the tower is unadorned. A ladder leads up, but it is broken. A rope hangs down within reach. A ladder attached to the tower wall leads up the clock's mechanism, but the ladder is broken. Some rungs are missing, some merely split. Actually, the ladder is no longer usable. Well, thanks for telling me that. What if can I put the bucket on this hook? Okay. Yeah, I can. You hang the bucket on the hook, which means water is probably not meant to go in it, but I'll bet you I can put other things in there. I bet I could put rocks or something in there. So, okay. Portal. Okay. You stand in the foyer of a small house. Stairs lead up another level and double doors are set in the east wall. You streamed too early this morning, or maybe it's because daylight savings time ended yesterday. Could be. I thought you'd be along about an hour ago, so that's probably right. Happy normal Monday. That's true. I think we're just we're actually, yeah, I would say we're just about done for this one because we've been streaming for about 3 hours, so I think I need that key.
How may I be of assistance, sir?
He speaks really well for something dead. I mean, you can definitely see where he's decayed. The decaying yeah, well, there it is. The decaying butler attempts to draw himself up, but the weight of the chain around his waist keeps him slumped over.
Who are you?
My name is Aramas. I serve Balthazar, the master of the house. His work is very important and cannot be disturbed, so he retains me and a few other servants to handle the domestic work.
All right.
Who else does Balthazar retain to serve him?
In addition to myself, Balthazar employs a nanny who cares for the master's young children, and a housekeeper who does the cooking as well.
Okay, nice.
There's a housekeeper? Isn't it kind of dirty around here? I'd say this housekeeper is slacking off.
The house is a little dusty, but I'm sure she'll get on the job soon.
This room seems really bad, like it's a bad place for dead people. I wonder if there's a name for that. It slips my mind.
Who is Balthazar?
Balthazar is the personal necromancer to the king of Khan Telest. He's one of the most celebrated sorcerers in the city.
What important work is he doing?
He does what all necromancers do. He resurrects and sustains the dead so that they can serve the living. But he also spends much of his time researching new magic arts. It's not a very popular activity among other necromancers. In fact, it used to be a crime. But as my master was mentor to most of the others, and because he is a man of power and influence, his research isn't questioned. Not that Balthazar would care in any case.
Okay.
What magic arts is he researching?
What do I look like? A necromancer? I'm just his personal...
I think you died, though.
I don't pry into his work. It could be hazardous to my health.
Okay. Actually, you look like a corpse. Yep.
Actually, you look like a corpse. I doubt your health could deteriorate much more.
There's no need to be rude.
I wasn't.
Why can't he be disturbed?
I was being literal.
Interruption at the wrong time could have disastrous results. His old butler interrupted him once. My first job was to scrape his entrails off the walls.
Is that why that door is locked?
Yes. He takes his breaks at certain times, and only then is it safe to enter. Soon it will be time for his tea. I'm waiting for the housekeeper to bring it.
Enough about your employer.
As you wish.
Let's ask about that key real quick, and then we'll ask about the dead, and then I will be done.
This is the key to the study door. My master requires his privacy. I only open the door to give him his meals and when he breaks for tea. Right now, I am waiting for the housekeeper to give me the tea tray. The master will be expecting it soon.
Has been fairly off lately, going to see doctors soon to figure out why. I'm sorry to hear that, Viddy.
Perhaps we should talk about...
As you...
Let's ask about your dead.
Why are you standing around?
Dead? Dead tired, maybe. I don't get enough of rest. Lately, even the act of standing upright has become difficult. I need a vacation.
I think you're actually dead, though. Let's see. Will he come with me?
Regrettably, I can't...
Okay.
You're as
you...
Okay, so he only comes out at certain times. The double doors in the wall are made from thick, hard wood. They are intricately carved with symbols that you don't recognize.
The smallest people made their home.
The cramped nursery holds a few items. An empty crib, a tiny table, and a rocking chair occupied by an old woman.
Only come outside to play when all the arrows point the way.
The dead nanny.
Which way, you ask?
The dead nanny ignores you, her decayed brain totally engrossed in the task of reading aloud from the children's book.
Hey, Grandma, over here!
The animated corpse pays no attention to you. She just continues to read from the book.
Give me that book. Maybe if you didn't have your nose in it, you'd notice that I'm trying to speak to you.
The dead nanny ignores you and continues to read, so you decide to remove the book yourself. You slide the book out of the dead nanny's wrinkled hands. She doesn't resist, but no sooner is the book gone than she stops speaking. Her eyes go blank and she sits motionless. Can I talk to you?
Who are you?
I'm the nanny of this family. I take care of the children while the master does his research. In fact, I should be reading to the children right now as they go to sleep. Have you seen my book?
She looks the least scathed of all of them. I mean, her clothing is torn, but she doesn't look like she's decaying, truly.
You're quite the conversationalist, but...
The dead nanny says nothing. She just stares. Okay. Alright, I think that's where we're going to save it. We'll save it as... Delete that one, and we'll save this one as... Thriller. There we go. And I'll hit OK. Wonderful. That's pretty cool. Let's move back over to the wizard. Oh, that's not the wizard. This is the wizard. And I've got to change some stuff around real quick. Well, I think I had the wrong button. I'm going to push something real quick. I think... Did I have it on the right one? Oh, I had it on the right one. Okay, fair enough. Back to the wizard. Alright, so let's change that over. We'll get this moved. Nope. I have to make a better series of macros for all of this, truly. I believe it's this one. And then I can hit this one. And then let's see if I can... Did I click the wrong button? There we go. There we go. Okay. Thriller closed by singing, I don't have a voice anywhere near the high pitch that Michael Jackson had. I can't hit that I couldn't hit that to save my life. Thanks for getting us all out of hell, Retro. The souls of the damned make me feel sad. Yeah, I think that whole place is this whole one is the saddest. It is not hell, thankfully. But it's pretty close. It's as close as I think they'll get. Is this what he does when the new Doctor Who script? Wait, it's a reference to a completely different discussion, not on his channel. That's true. It was on yours. Where is the discussion? Yeah, I was gonna say it's on Vidi's channel. We had a bit of a discussion day before yesterday, I think it was, and it was really nice. Yep, there we go. I don't know if it's because it's 7 a.m. instead of 8 a.m., but I wish I could have been on here. Oh, that's all right. That's all right. I didn't know that the time change had occurred over there yet. Our time change had occurred a couple of weeks ago. So, but yeah. But yeah, I will say thank you everybody for coming over, saying hi, seeing this cool little story. Again, if you want to play this game, I missed your stream, sorry. It was really neat. It was a really neat little discussion. I wasn't able to respond as quickly as possible because I was on the phone, on my phone, and we were traveling at the same time, so I apologize I was a little bit more sparse, but it was a pleasure to get to talk with you there. Incidentally, I will mention that streams slightly later in the day are preferable for me too. Alright, fair enough. But what is next time really? How does next time come? How does time get away from us so that toast cannot be offered to Retro Room? And the video asks the most philosophical questions. Time doesn't get away from us. Time is nothing that we possess. Time is strictly... time isn't a thing. Time is the same thing. No, time is a thing. Time is like a ruler, right? That's all it is. It's a measurement. It's a tool for measurement. Itself is generally, if you want to use it, you can use it. It's a measurement. It's a ruler. It tells you how long a foot is. Instead of a foot, it tells you how long an hour is. And an hour is the level of average decay of all things, right? We measure it based upon how long it takes for the sun to cycle around, and we segment it, and we fragment it, and we all kinds of mint it, excrement it. That's all it is. It's just a unit of measurement for decay. But I had every chance to offer toast. I guess I'll have to travel backwards in time. But yeah. But no, I want to say thank you very much for popping in, for seeing this. Again, I am saying if it is... serious question, will the next video stream be? I'll probably make it more easy if I know. I'm not sure when the next stream is up next yet, because it's very sporadic. However, I'll try to give more advance on Retro's Discord. That may help. Sure. Prefer my toast crispy, personally. Oh yeah, sure. Yeah, I was gonna say I will. I will recommend to anybody who hasn't played this, if you're on a computer, you have a computer newer than 1994, I will recommend that you go ahead and download the game from the link that's on my in my description. You can play a free copy of this. It is, again, it's completely free. It's not sponsored. I don't get anything for it. It's just so you can play the game, have the game. It's abandonware, so nothing necessary except for the download from the installer. And then from there, you can just launch it and play it the same as I am. If you want to play it the same way, play it along with me or play it past me. It's a pretty nice little series of stories and honestly quite fun. And I've really enjoyed it. It's fully voice acted, although I do enjoy doing little narrations in the in-between and reading the parts that are not a voice, right? But I think it's honestly a lot of fun, and I hope you guys have had fun kind of watching it with me. I know it's a little bit older, but at the same time, I think that those types of games are a lot of fun and very appealing to me because they're not worried about the flashy bells and whistles. They're worried just about kind of being interesting. So I can flexify sometimes. Nice. But yeah, I'm going to say thank you so very much. I hope that all of you have a wonderful rest of your weekend. Hope you have a wonderful Easter Sunday, Easter Monday, if you happen to be in a time zone not ours, or not this, I guess, one south of the equator, let's say. I usually stream on Saturday or Sunday morning, Australian time. As in right now, this is a Monday morning. Yep. The game just seemed pretty good. Yes, thanks for bringing it to us, and I will probably play it through sometimes. Yeah, if not, even if you don't play it through, go ahead and download it. It is, like I said, it's abandonware. Go ahead and download it, have it for your collection. It is, you install it, and then once you install it again, it's offline. You own the game because it's abandonware. I don't like having a lot of stuff online, so if I can download and have all these games and installers, I've got. As a matter of fact, I have 13 terabytes of storage that I use to put all my backup installers on. So when I buy my GOG games, I download all of them onto hard drives, these hard drives that I have. so that I can have the offline versions of the game. And so this is just another one of those in the collection. So, but yeah, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your Easter weekend, wonderful beginning to your Easter week, and thank you so very much for being here with me. I really appreciate the conversation. So thank you to Copyright Infringement, to Maki Sprites, to Viddy, and to Ash for all showing up, having conversations with me, and just kind of going through this game in a very chill way. But I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and we'll see you next time.